It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazawey. Let's talk some sports.
Good afternoon, everybody, all you wonderful people out there watching Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. It is a beautiful Thursday, March 16th. It kind of marks the beginning of March Madness. I, of course, am not Ryan Ermanni. I am Flannel Sam. Here to my right is Braylon Edwards. We've got Tom Mazawey in the Maz chair, JB in the sound booth, and Fletch on the ones and twos. It's funny this week, I've noticed. March Madness is obviously something that we all watch, we all are into. It's a big event.
Used to be.
But NFL free agency has just trumped everything. It's just so much breaking news. The shows have been electric this week.
There's been some good shows, man. I mean, you watch heavyweights. The heavyweights had some heavy topics, talking about Evan Brown, talking about the moves made. David Montgomery, really good. Adam Beydoun, he's electric as ever. And Big D Energy, man. You see Nehru, the real deal Nehru. So the shows have been hot, man. But only when we talk about football.
Only when we talk about football.
Only when we talk about football, man. Whenever we talk about anything else, not football, people don't want to hear about it. But you know what? You're going to have to deal with it a little bit today. Here's a good story for you. Since it's March Madness, here's a great story about it. Almost never happened. You think of the Running Rebels. You think of the Fab Five. These are the elite factions of college basketball history, correct? And these are the elite trends, the Coke classics. You say Fab Five, and people just instantly, oh, man, baggy shorts, black socks. You talk about the Running Rebels. Oh, man, the first time they were kind of like the new age Five, Slammer, Jammer, which is kind of the original Coke, Matt. Imagine if Hakeem Olajuwon never joins Houston. They're not playing in the Final Four in the championship game 2 years in a row. Do you know how close the Houston Cougars came to not getting Hakeem Olajuwon?
Houston Rockets?
No, the Houston Cougars.
How close?
Talking about the college team.
Where was he going to go?
So he got 4 plane tickets once he came into the United States of America. He landed in New York. I think he landed at LaGuardia with 4 tickets. St. John's was supposed to pick him up from the airport in LaGuardia.
The Johnnies.
St. John's, a no-show. The other 3 tickets were Louisville, Houston Cougars, and there was one more. The other one was a cold place. There was a baggage handler at the airport in 1980. 1981, 1980, baggage handler was Nigerian. What are the odds that you would find another Nigerian in 1980 working in baggage claim? And he asked him, he said, hey, my brother, which one of these places is the weather similar to Lagos, Nigeria? Which one of these places is the weather similar? The guy looked at his 4 tickets and he pointed to Houston. So he went back inside, he went to Houston, and the rest is history. He was that close to not even being on the team to start Flat Summer Jam. You talk about some freaking luck.
Oh, yeah.
That is cool.
That is really cool.
Man, Flat Summer Jam.
I would love him if he was a St. John guy, a Redman. That would have been great. St. John's has not been too. They have not been the same since, I don't know, Malik Sealy's the last.
Ron Artest. When they had Ron Artest and Barkley, they were good.
I thought Malik Sealy was after Ron Artest. But
Maybe before.
Okay.
No, he was before. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a great story because Hakeem Olajuwon. I mean, if you want to watch some dominant college highlights, go watch Hakeem Olajuwon at the University of Houston. It was unfair. It's a shame that they didn't win a national championship while he was there, but that's all right. They are
North
still
Carolina State.
Oh, I know we're going to get to that later, but that burns me.
Yeah, it does.
Houston should have won that game. But anywho, we're not going to talk about that for too long. But March Madness, and this is something that I want to get off my chest really quickly before we get started. Back in the day, basically from when I was ages 14 to my mid-20s, and especially with Michigan having such a good run lately under John Beilein, I used to be just obsessed with the first couple days of March Madness. I would be locked in from morning to night, just every game, just filling out brackets, all that good stuff. But this year and these last couple years, I don't know, I feel like a little bit of the juice is gone. I don't know whether it's the NFL free agency is more exciting and more important. I don't know if it's this season, Michigan, my favorite team, didn't even make the tournament. Michigan State doesn't look to be much of a threat. Or maybe it's just that the Lions, they're such players this year. You're looking to supplement a team that could maybe make the playoffs and, dare I say, go far in the playoffs. Am I the only one that's kind of just not as excited about March Madness as I feel like I should be?
Matt, I'll let you answer first, buddy.
It's definitely lost its a little bit of the juice. I don't know what it is. I guess I do. They put so much basketball on during the year. Maybe it's college basketball fatigue, but not for me because I don't really start watching basketball until the tournaments or the last month. The second half of February into March.
Right.
That's when I really start getting locked in. And Selection Sunday to me is one of the best days. I love it. I love what CBS does, ESPN does. And then to have these games on all the CBS networks, they're fantastic. Jim Nance at the controls, Grant Hill, Onions, Bill Raftery.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love it. I think it's phenomenal. And it's unfortunate because we haven't really talked about it at all. I mentioned it yesterday to you guys. Football is trumping it. Football is sucking the life out of every sport around it. I mean, the NBA, do you really pay attention to it in the beginning of in the first few months?
You don't even
NFL, hockey, you don't pay attention. Baseball, you do because they're getting their playoffs when football's starting.
Right.
When football's starting, they're different.
Yeah, baseball has
That's the only one that can maybe stay above the I don't give a damn quota. Yeah. But there's 16 games today. I'm watching 3 right now in front of me and doing the show at the same time. I still love it. I wish
Ryan would beat you up if he was here.
I know. I wish this is a day that all great sports fans would love to have off. Sit at the bar with their friends, bet, eat, drink, and have a great time. We're lucky we get to do it every day.
Here's what I would say about college basketball. And yes, football definitely does dominate everything. Football dominates all the airwaves. It dominates all the windows. It dominates. You talk about it all the time. The best season, not the NFL season, is the NFL offseason. We say it all the time. But if we're just focusing on basketball and why it's not good anymore, there are no stars. There are no stars.
No one stays anymore.
There are no stars in college basketball. One, the system hasn't changed. You see how the NBA has changed? You see how college football has changed because the NFL changed? College baseball has changed because the MLB has changed. College basketball is still the same type of process. Throw it into the big man gets you a bucket. The team that has the best big man or the best small forward typically wins. But where are those stars? I remember back in the day watching the tournament with Duke playing. You got Trajan Langdon, the Alaskan Assassin, Mike Dunleavy. You got Elton Brand on that team. Okay. Like every team was stacked. Even look at the John Calipari teams from just 10 years ago. You got You had Boogie Cousins. You got John Wall, Devin Booker. Like every team was stacked. Now when you look around the country, because there's the overtime season and kids aren't even going to college anymore, now guys are playing overseas. Those teams aren't stacked. Name me a team that you know 4 of their players. Flannel Sam, you don't count. Name me a team that has 4 stars that you like, I can't wait to see blank play.
Yeah.
There isn't that team. I went to see North Carolina play at the beginning of the season at Madison Square Garden against Ohio State. Had front court seats. Everything was great. It's Madison Square Garden, front row seats. This is UNC. It's Ohio State. Game was boring as hell. UNC barely won. And oh, by the way, UNC was in the national championship last year and was the returning #1 seed, and they were boring as hell, including their big man, Baycott. It's boring now.
I mean, they were boring as hell. I mean, just as a team, they weren't just bad. They don't really have any stars. I mean, I guess Armando.
But they were the #1 team. They were the #1 preseason team.
#1 preseason, made the national championship
game. And this is game 2.
I know, and I agree with you. I think the closest thing there is to a star. I mean, I wouldn't even say the closest thing. Maybe Brandon Miller from Alabama, but there's still a little bit of a dark cloud hanging around him. JB, I know that in the break between the shows, you were locked into the NCAA tournament, watching games on your phone. Do you still feel the same juice for the NCAA tournament that maybe you did back in the day?
Not anymore. The only reason, right now, I'm kind of interested in a little bit
lazy
more.
Boy.
Especially because,
trying to get that lazy boy.
The contest we have going on here. But also, what's making it big now, which I think most of the viewership comes from, is sports betting. Because now you're able to bet on it. So, of course, now you're going to tune in just a little bit more than what you used to. But, other than the brackets being busted already, which I'm pretty sure that'll happen by the end of the day. There will not be a perfect bracket. But, it's just sports betting for me.
I mean, and of course, to go along with it, all of us NFL fans, especially Lions fans, we're not necessarily even as locked in. We're thinking, oh my God, we got Cameron Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley. We upgrade at running back in David Montgomery. Like, those are the things that, thank you, Sheila. Those are the things that definitely have excited me the most.
It's matchups too. I think, man, and this is the last thing I'll say about NCAA basketball. I think I'm almost ready to talk NFL too.
Sure.
No, but the last thing is it's matchups. Like when you look back, Maz, you look back the historic like games, and it's matchups that you remember, right? It's the matchups. You look at UConn and Duke in 99. Like how the hell did UConn beat that Duke team? You look at Michigan and North Carolina, the infamous TO. I mean, I can remember games from 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I can't tell you who played national championship last year.
I know.
I can't tell you who played national. Like, if I wasn't doing this show, I couldn't tell you who won 2 years ago. I know it's Baylor.
Yeah.
But if we weren't doing this show, I wouldn't know that.
I won a bracket there with Baylor.
Oh, you did?
I did.
You went bracket with Baylor. But, yeah, like, it was the matchups. You wanted to see Duke. You wanted to see Michigan State and North Carolina at Ford Field. You wanted to see those matchups. Now they don't have those matchups that you're really looking forward to seeing.
They don't have that, and they don't have the villain Duke team or like the villain like
the villain player.
Like a Tyler Hansborough or someone like that.
Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen or Christian Leitner, JJ Redick, guys like that.
So basically everybody from Duke.
And then one from North Carolina.
North Carolina.
You're right, though. Duke has been notorious for those kind of players that everybody hates.
Duke's a 5 seed. I don't think I've ever seen him as a 5 seed.
No.
They're always a 1 or a 2.
They've been playing
a
good.
3
though.
maybe.
I think they won their last 9 games.
Yeah,
they
they're
won the
starting to play
tournament. I mean, hey, but the NCAA tournament, I feel like the NCAA tournament and MLB baseball, it's all about when you heat up. I think those are the biggest two proponents of when you heat up, MLB and NCAA. So if you heat up right now, it's the perfect time to heat up.
That's another thing, guys. The World Baseball Classic's going on. No one even knows. No one even knows. I'll tell you why no one knows. It's not on ESPN. The ESPN networks, they really covered it. It's on Fox. We love Fox.
I was a little hit. I was a little hit with the theme music.
USA won last night. They knocked out Colombia. They beat them. So they'll move on.
They're in the C division.
They're going to play Venezuela in the quarters. But here's the kicker. Last night, Dominican Republic knocks out Puerto Rico. They're celebrating because it's a big upset. Who's on the mound? That's right, Edwin Diaz, the closer for the New York Mets. 1, 2, 3, ninth inning. See you later. Everyone's jumping around, and he blows out his knee. Torn patella tendon. He's out for the year for the New York Mets. Just signed a $120 million contract.
He's got a new hairdo, too.
I'm telling you, man. It was so sad to see. So
bye-bye.
sad. I mean, you should have seen it. They were jumping around, euphoric, and then it was like a funeral. His brother was crying like you would not believe. Grown men were crying walking off that field last night. They want to win that tournament so much. It's a great tournament to watch. Shohei Ohtani throwing 101 miles an hour for Japan. Struck out 5 last night. No one cares. No one saw it.
No.
Japan, they're probably not going to lose. They're in the semifinals already.
Japan just picked up somebody. They just picked up Trevor Bauer.
That's right.
Trevor Bauer went over for a 1 year.
1 year,
I'm
$4
just saying,
million.
all these sports are getting trumped by what, Sam?
By the NFL offseason, because it is the second most popular season after the actual NFL season. And don't you guys worry, we're going to talk plenty of that. We're going to talk about a certain Lions running back that signed with another team that was a fan favorite. What do we think of that? There was all kinds of
Kerryon Johnson.
Kerryon Johnson, right? He's been on Twitter lately too. But we definitely have a little bit more March Madness talk later on. We got Lindsey Hunter coming into the show, former Detroit Piston basketball player, member of the 04 going to work Pistons team, and member of the 02 Lakers team, the third of the three-peats.
There you go.
And we also got a little bit of draft talk, specifically surrounding a certain one, Jalen Carter. And it seems like some things have been resolved in as far as his legal troubles go, but he's had a eventful offseason, I will just say that. But first, before we get to that, I gotta tell you about Guardian Alarm. It's a new year. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night. The number is 1-800-STAY-OUT. And know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. That is
1-800-STAY-OUT.
Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. One more time, call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Stay out.
Let Guardian Alarm give you your security.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization, we serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991? Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Hey, it's Maz for Big Boy, and
Big
Seafood
Boy.
Fest is back at Big Boy, so catch it while you can, especially during this Lenten season. Some great favorites: the shrimp Alfredo, the shrimp stir fry, and the new fish sandwich. And don't forget, tomorrow, Fish Fry Friday. That's right, the all-you-can-eat fish fry buffet only at your local Big Boy.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. And we talked yesterday on basically all of the shows, because I think it broke 2 nights ago that David Montgomery signed with the Detroit Lions for 3 years, $18 million, $6 million AAV. And we all kind of knew what that meant for one Jamal Williams, or at least we suspected. But it broke yesterday that Jamal Williams signed a 3-year, $12 million deal with the New Orleans Saints, and that is a $4 million a year AAV. And to me, I definitely think that David Montgomery is a clear upgrade. But I was a little bit surprised that he signed with another team for only $4 million a year, because that was a number that me as a Lions fan would have been comfortable giving him myself. So
Braylon hit it from the get-go. He said $4 million.
$4 million. And and I would have been fine with that. I'm also fine with the upgrade, but I thought for sure, and Braylon, I don't know if you have experience in the NFL, I thought for sure when I saw that he would that he signed with another team that maybe he would have signed for more money than that, but you weren't surprised.
No, I wasn't surprised. I think at the end of the day, his tag was going to be what it was. It was going to be $4 million a year, somewhere in that framework. And I think when he came to Detroit Lions, and Detroit Lions had where they potentially, I don't even think they wanted him back. Like the way that I look at the situation now as it played out, listen, at the end of the day, life is about hard decisions. And the people that can make those hard decisions the best are competent individuals. They typically have the most success in life when they can look at a decision and they cannot wave their emotions into it, or they cannot look at it and say, okay, dang, I really love this guy, or I really love this woman, or blah, blah, blah. But it's not the best for what I'm doing. It's not the best for where I want to be. I see my team moving in a direction. I see myself moving in a different direction. So the Lions were off on him from the get-go. And I think Jamal Williams probably tried to, hey, I had 17 touchdowns and this, that, and the third. And the Detroit Lions, they knew what they knew. They said, hey, David Montgomery's a better running back. When you watch the two, it's night and day when you turn the footage on. When you turn the footage on, David Montgomery is a beast. I could see Dave Montgomery being this guy for the Detroit Lions for the next 5 years, 6 years. When you watch Jamal Williams in there, you're like, I hope we get this win. I hope he can have a game. I hope that, Jared Goff gets hot and throws some passes. So Jamal Williams did a lot of good things for the Detroit Lions. He's an emotional presence in the locker room. He was a leader. He was the one to kind of help these guys during training camp. We all saw it on Hard Knocks, etc. He got in the end zone. We gave him opportunities. But let's call it a spade. You want to go in a different direction. The Lions aren't trying to go in a direction of being okay or being just good. And last year they were 9-8. That's just okay. Lions want to be really good. They want to get to NFC Championship. And what comes with that are hard decisions. And this is one of those first hard decisions that I believe Brad Holmes and that new regime had to make. And they made the right one.
Why'd the Bears let him go then? Why'd the Bears not sign him then? I'm just saying.
Right.
If he's running back 1 and Jamal's a running back 2, we know that's a sure bet.
Right.
But is he that much more of an upgrade than Jamal Williams? That's $2 million that they could have saved per year. That's $6 million more that they probably could have went out and kept a player like Deshaun Elliott, who they let walk for $1.97 million to the Miami Dolphins yesterday.
Right.
I didn't like that they let him go.
Talking about the Bears or the Lions?
I didn't like that the Lions let Deshaun Elliott walk to the Dolphins. So if they re-signed Jamal, they would have saved $6 million over the 3 years.
But if you know what you know out of an individual and you see what you see, David Montgomery hasn't had an offensive line, and guess who's trying to build an offensive line? the Chicago Bears. So they need money to spend on that offensive line to help out Justin Fields. So that's another reason why they don't bring David Montgomery back. When you know that Jamal, when you watch Jamal on film, like when you watch him on film, doesn't get anywhere on
He's
first.
not a running back one.
Doesn't get anywhere on first down. Second down, you're hoping if you're running him on second down, then chances are you're not in a good spot anyway, because you're really just running to get, whatever. Third down back, he doesn't really catch the ball out of the backfield. There's a lot of things that Jamal doesn't do. He was our backup running back. So now we can pay a guy to be our number one that we believe that could put us in a situation the next 5 years to be great. Yeah, you got to go for it.
And there's a safety at Philadelphia that I would love to have here. You need safety help now.
Hey, I mean, with Deshaun,
he hasn't been re-signed yet.
I mean, that's definitely on the table with Deshaun Elliott. That is sort of, Maz, I agree with you, a little bit of an undervalued sort of guy who just walked out. And it's not, I don't think it's the end of the world, but I noticed it as well. It's not the end of the world, but I did notice it. He was good for them last year.
He was fine. For that money,
absolutely.
He's fine. You need bodies, right?
Yes.
You need bodies.
You need bodies, but, once again, you're not going into a different realm. Like, you're going into that realm of NFC North. You're trying to be Jon Snow of the North. I always say you're trying to be king of the North. And to be king of the North, you got to get the right players. We give Brad Holmes a lot of credit because the way in which he's going about building this Detroit Lions team, he's building it the right way. He's saving money where he can, spending where he can't. And he's bringing back the players with the same integrity that the team is built on right now over the past 2 years. I think he's doing it the right way. So when little things like that happen, Jamal leaves or Elliott leaves, push back on that because he's definitely doing it the right way. So I don't trip.
No, this I agree with you, and this is going to sound a little bit bad, but just bear with me, everybody. Jamal Williams is obviously someone who was very, very valuable to this team. Had over 1,000 yards, 17 rushing touchdowns. You can't take that away.
Nope.
But I also kind of think that fans, because we're all fans, kind of overvalued him a tad. He became a fan favorite. He likes anime. He cries in post-game interviews and then snaps to Detroit versus everybody. I mean, that was all amazing. He's kind of a locker room culture guy, and I think a lot of fans kind of ate that up. But what we know as people who have watched football is that David Montgomery is a better back. He gets compensated more than Jamal Williams. He gets $2 million a year more, but he is actually an RB1. Jamal Williams was never meant to be an RB1. It was supposed to be DeAndre Swift's breakout year, which I predicted miserably, by the way. Right. And it was actually Jamal Williams who had to kind of take on a role that he wasn't quite prepared for. I mean, you mentioned it. David Montgomery behind this Lions offensive line versus behind the Bears offensive line. I expect him to have the best year of his career. Plus, he is a threat coming out of the backfield. But
he's a 3-down back.
He is a 3-down back, and Jamal Williams, unfortunately, at least in passing situations, was not really a 3-down back.
I will say this. We don't have to, and we're not, by the way, none of us are doing that. We don't have to poo-poo on Jamal Williams to say that David Montgomery is a better player. What Jamal Williams did for the Detroit Lions last year, the last 2 years, we're forever grateful. I think the Detroit Lions fan base will be forever grateful to him. But you got to call a spade a spade. And I'll read this and then say it. I just want to say thank you to the people of the Detroit fans and everybody a part of the Hidden Village of the Den. I've grown a lot just from those 2 years, and I appreciate every experience I had with every person I came to encounter while I was there. Thank you. That's from Jamal Williams himself. Appreciate you, Fletch. The big thing is, here are the two things, and we can just drop the Jamal Williams stuff, people out there. One, you didn't fear Jamal Williams until he got inside the 15-yard line. You did not fear him until he got inside the 15-yard line. Am I lying? And then thing two, when it comes to Jamal Williams, Green Bay didn't want to let him go, but they let him go. Yeah. Because they knew, well, he's not better than A.J. Dillon. He's not better than Aaron Ross. And, yeah, you know what? For what he does, there's a cap on what it could be. The Detroit Lions are going to have to figure that out. 2 years later, what are the Detroit Lions figuring out? He's a fan favorite. We love him. We do not want to let him go. But there's a cap on what he can do for us, and we got to let him go.
You hit it on the head.
Yeah.
He'll be good in New Orleans, though.
He will be.
Alvin Kamara and him, that's a pretty good, formidable backfield.
He can do the stuff Alvin Kamara doesn't want to do. Alvin Kamara is a guy who wants the flashy stuff. He wants to – I'm not saying he's a punk. By no means is he a punk. He wants to do the flashy stuff. Jamal Williams can do the heavy stuff.
I'm happy we got David Montgomery. That said, I'm happy we got David Montgomery.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Jamal Williams was one of those casualties who had to go, and that's okay. I often referred to him as, and I know this is going to sound disrespectful, but I don't mean to, as the goal line touchdown merchant. Because those 17 touchdowns, while they were valuable, you need someone who can punch it in from the 1 yard line. I mean, those don't hit the same as Barry Sanders' 16, not even remotely close. But that's okay. This isn't a Jamal Williams bashing out.
Are we now mad that he broke the record and didn't even come back? Like, are we now mad now?
I don't know. I mean,
a little bit.
I'm a little bit. I told you what happened when he broke the record. I was like, I appreciate what he's doing, but I'm like, he broke Barry's record. I'm like, every touchdown I saw Barry's was different. It makes sense to what you're saying.
There is no universe in which Jamal Williams should hold a rushing record in Detroit over Barry Sanders. And it was definitely, as we said, a little bit inflated by the 1 yard touchdowns. It would be like if, I don't know, someone like Jordan Howard broke a Walter Payton Bears rushing record or something like that.
People in Chicago will go nuts.
It just wouldn't make sense. But that's okay. All that being said, Jamal Williams was valuable to this team. He gave that heartfelt thank you, and we are grateful for it. But there was a cap on what he can do. And one thing that I am proud of, I see most Lions fans, most of Lions Twitter, most of, if not all of this network understands that. Because Jamal Williams, if there's any guy that kind of has us fans in our feelings a little bit, it's a guy like Jamal Williams. But I think that everybody knows what's at hand. We know that David Montgomery is a better back. He's a 3-down back. He can catch balls out of the backfield. And I think he's even a more perfect complement to, say, a DeAndre Swift who doesn't want to take every carry. He can't handle it, obviously. He's more of sort of a flashy guy, whereas David Montgomery gets all of the tough yards in the middle. I'm looking forward to seeing him on the field for the Lions.
Yeah, I think they're going to complement each other well, because I think with David Montgomery in the middle, David Montgomery can play on every down, first down, second down, third down, fourth down. He can catch out of the backfield. In his 4 years in the NFL, he's 1,240 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns, or 4 or 6, excuse me. I know it's an even number. Like, this is what he's done already. The man can play on every down. Now what that allows DeAndre Swift means they're not trading him. They're not going to get rid of him. They're going to leave him there, and they're going to find a space or role for him, because you've seen when he's on. Like, when DeAndre Swift is on, he can do amazing things for this Lions organization, and maybe he's just not the number one back. Like, one thing about these Georgia running backs, and I always said it, these Georgia running backs, man, they don't necessarily hit in the NFL as what they were in college. That's because all these guys are splitting time in college. Nick Chubb is doing his thing. Now, him and Ty Gurley early on, but Nick Chubb's he's the unicorn right now. No Sean Moreno, Sony Michel, DeAndre Swift, the list goes on, because they're always splitting time. Like, you look at that team that Ty Gurley was on. Nick Chubb was on that team. Ty Gurley was on that team. Sony Michel was on that team. They're always splitting time. And I think when they get in the NFL, for some reason they break down because of it.
I'm glad you mentioned Nick Chubb, because he's definitely one of those Georgia running backs.
He doesn't count.
He's the one that definitely panned out. But when you're talking about the ones you just mentioned, like DeAndre Swift, Sony Michel,
it's like Justin Fields as the Ohio State quarterback. Right. Like, they're all Ohio State. Justin Fields, I believe, is different.
Justin Fields is the one that you could definitely see panning out. And Maz, you mentioned something earlier about, I think that Jamal Williams too will also fit well on the New Orleans Saints to complement Alvin Kamara. I mean, they literally do what each other doesn't do. I mean, Jamal Williams, not great catching the ball in the backfield, not really a flashy guy with a lot of speed, but Alvin Kamara doesn't want to run between the tackles and is never really a every down back. Look for the New Orleans Saints to, I think they absolutely have to win the division this next year, at least with that
That's
trade.
a wide open division.
It is wide open, but, you know, whether you like it or not, Derek Carr, you got him at quarterback, you've got Chris Olave, you've got some pieces on defense too. So that's
Carolina.
Carolina. You're looking at Carolina?
I believe Carolina will win that NFC South. I mean, you just look how they're built. I mean, you look what they did to the Detroit Lions. There's no fluke in that Detroit Lions game with the Carolina Panthers. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. That's how good that team is, because they're a defensively solid team. And this is before the moves they made in free agency. And then they can run the ball. So now they're bringing a backup quarterback. Now they're going to draft one of these quarterbacks. I'm not saying that they're going to be Super Bowl champs next year, but that Carolina team is going to be really, really good. And it's like you said, it's a wide open NFC South that I think they can win.
I mean, they gave the Lions the business on the ground, and you know who else gave them the business? Brian Burns. They're a star defensive player, and that. So I don't hate it. I'd probably pick the Saints.
J.C. Horn is over there.
Yeah, J.C. Horn. That's another one.
They just picked up. Who they just pick up at the secondary position?
God.
A big one. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
They spent a lot of money.
Spending.
They're spending a lot of money.
Yeah, they moved up, man.
Yeah, and
By the way, Furman is beating Virginia.
Yeah. Oh boy, first upset of the tournament. And I never meant for this to be sort of a Jamal Williams bashing hour. I just wanted to kind of hit home how I think we're all happy about the David Montgomery upgrade, and we're all also well, there you go, Adam Baydoun. I guess he says otherwise.
Baydoun is in the house.
What did Baydoun say? I missed it.
He said F.
Fuck Jamal Williams.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Fox 2, we appreciate that.
You know what? I wouldn't go
We
that
love
far,
it, though.
But you know what, Adam Baydoun, you are entitled to your opinion. that is okay. And so you know what else? Before Adam gets us into any trouble, let me tell you about Custom Health Centers. Get your customized approach to weight loss. Think of all the ways.
Fat ass.
We're going to be working there. He keep cussing on there.
Think of all the ways that weight affects your health, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Custom Health Centers is blessed to have had over 20,000 success stories. It's been their honor to help many professional athletes lose weight and improve their health. People like Detroit Lion Eddie Murray and Detroit Piston Rick Mahorn. Start losing weight today. Call Dr. Jason and Custom Health at 844-789-8446. That's 844-789-THIN.
Merrill's come all the way back to lead by 3, and they're on the line.
You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, you've got a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. I am not Ryan Ermanni. I am Flannel Sam. This is Braylon Edwards. We've got Tom Mazawey in the Maz chair. JB Smooth. I believe you are just by yourself in the sound booth now. Adam Baydoun has left the building, but he was a special guest. There you go. There's some proof. And we got Fletch on the 1s and 2s.
Couple F-bombs.
Just a couple.
Just a couple.
We actually got pretty lucky with that one.
Yeah.
So Jalen Carter has been a hot topic in all of the NFL, but with the Lions, because I think...
And on the restaurant circuit.
As well. I did see that. But
Shoney's.
I think we would agree right now that the odds of Jalen Carter falling to the Lions are much, much higher than I would have thought when this whole process sort of started. And Jalen Carter, it looks like there is a resolution to at least his legal part of the issue. Georgia defensive tackle Jalen Carter will receive no jail time. Carter will receive 12 months probation, pay a $1,000 fine, and perform 80 hours of community service. So I guess in reality, that's behind him. Obviously, there's some trauma that comes along with that. So with all of that being said, with everything in legality being behind him, and with that disappointing pro day, I would say, are you scared off Braylon Edwards from drafting Jalen Carter if he falls to 6?
No. If you believe that Jalen Carter is everything that you said he was, and all through the season last year, all August through December, through January, up until the combine, if everyone believes that this is who Jalen Carter is, if this is what the Detroit Lions have scouted since August, is this is what they've scouted during the season, and if this is what they've seen, and this is who they believe he is, no, I don't care about that. So what? He had a bad 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? In 1 week, he thought he was going number 1 overall. Then on that day, he finds out that they warned for his arrest. Then now he has to go to Athens. Now he has to figure this out. Now, oh man, is he going to be number 1? Is he still going to be top 10? Is he even going to be in the first round? Is he even going to be drafted? He probably was eating a little bit. He was hanging out, probably drinking a little bit. Like, hey man, this is depression that you're dealing with. You're trying to figure out. He's also still dealing with that loss. Like, he was there the night that thing happened. So I think he's still a kid. People got to look at it like that. He's still young. He was in a bad spot, bad decision. He gets away, essentially, $1,000, no jail time. This is still your guy. If that's the things you believe, minus this situation, are still in play, he has from March to September to get his fat ass in shape for my team. He's got more than enough time. I think you still draft him at number 1. Now, if you were just buying the hype, that people were putting out there throughout the year, and this Georgia defense anchored by the dominant Jalen Carter and what he did to I forgot when they played TCU. If you got tricked into it because of that, now you need to pay attention to who's in that draft. Now you need to look at some other guys like, hey, what's Tyree Wilson really talking about? Hey, what's this guy really talking about? If you got on the hype train, then definitely you need to get off of it. But if this is something you did your due diligence on, you got from March to September to get Jalen Carter in shape. And you see the type of team that the Detroit Lions have. Aiden Hutchinson, Isaiah Buggs, them guys ain't going for that BS. They're not going for you out all night partying and speed and racing down Woodward. They're not going for that. They're on a mission. Grit, determination. They're trying to win the NFC North. Sometimes you got to be in situations like that. I'll give you a quick story. When I was at Michigan, Jason Avant, I recruited him, I hosted him. Jason Avant's out of Chicago. Now, the Jason Avant Jason Avant is spiritual. He's God-fearing. He's an amazing individual. No teammate will ever tell you anything bad about Jason Avant. But when he was coming out of Garfield, when he was coming out of Carnegie Woods in Chicago, Southside, he was out here. Like Jason Avant, and he tells the story, so this isn't anything I'm like snitching on there. And he tells the story all the time when he's preaching. He talks about where he was. I remember when he first came in, he liked getting into fights. And then eventually we weren't going for that at Michigan. And the older guys, the Victor Hobsons, the Cato Junes, the Ron Bellamy, shout out to Ron Bellamy in Michigan, they were like, this isn't what we do here. Changed his life. He became Baptist. He actually went to the same church as my grandma. But what I'm saying is he got around the right people. He changed his life. And nobody will tell you anything negative about Jason Avant. That's the type of team the Detroit Lions have, and I believe they can do that for Jalen Carter.
I'm looking forward to the draft so much. I cannot wait till it gets here. And the more I look at the draft and the more mock drafts you do and you look at, it's a real possibility that he can fall to number 6, unless Seattle somehow comes up and grabs him. And I still believe that they're going to take a quarterback. I don't know. I just don't think that they're going to put all their eggs in the basket with Geno Smith. Yeah, they paid him, but they paid him for a couple of years. Let's face it, those contracts are not even worth the paper they printed on.
He sees 50 of that this year.
Yeah, he's going to get most of his money.
Yeah, he got 50
front.
this year.
So if he's there, Sam, I'm going to ask you because I asked these guys already. If he's there at 6, you know the Bears want him.
Yeah.
They're at 9. If you looked at him and you listened to Todd McShay and earlier to say Todd that he's got issues, then he gets in the car accident, and now he's off the hook for that. But you see, maybe there's something in his past that you don't like. Would you be willing to swap that pick and drop down to 9?
If I had those feelings, I would. But at this point, I would still draft Jalen Carter because to me, as I've said many, many times before, he is one of the can't-miss prospects in the draft, and I know that because I actually watched the tape. And that just doesn't lie. He is one of the most dominant defensive tackle prospects of the past 10 years. I believe his floor is something along the lines of a Christian Wilkins, but his ceiling could be Chris Jones, Quinn Williams type player, and especially on this defense where it is a need. I mean, a major need, one of the major needs, and especially what that can do for people like Aiden Hutchinson and James Houston. A lot of the attention will then go to a Jalen Carter. I believe he steps right in right away, becomes a linchpin in the run defense, provides some pressure up the middle, and takes some of the double teams away from Aiden Hutchinson. I think it would do wonders for Aiden Hutchinson, who already was great his rookie season. Like, I'd say Pro Bowl and All-Pro loading for Aiden Hutchinson if they go after Jalen Carter.
The thing with Jalen Carter is we know what he's going to be. Like, the people that know, the people that study film, the people that like, we know what he has the potential to be. Or we know that even when he's not trying, what he's going to be and what he can be. You got to get this guy. You show me a team, Maz, and Maz, Lawrence Taylor is your favorite player.
Yeah.
You show me a team that has won a Super Bowl, Flannel Sam, Tom Mazawey, that didn't have a couple of those players on the team.
Dogs.
Of those players on the team. Players that are either dogs that people say negative things about because they don't know, or they may have had a thing or two that has happened in the past that clouds the vision of who that player is. Whether it was in high school, whether it was in college, whether it was maybe even in the first year in the NFL. No team has won a Super Bowl with with just good Christians praising the Lord and just say, I'm just saying my prayer. No team has ever won a Super Bowl with 100 of those guys.
I mean, and I'm sure you've been on teams where
Yes.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you to name names, but you've been on some teams that made
Yeah,
AFC
name
Championship games. No, obviously,
For sure.
Don't do that, Braylon. But
No,
that's
I'm not gonna name
I
names.
know.
I mean, it should me to a certain extent. I mean, you could look at the New York Jets and be like, "Hey, they took a chance on him after what happened with LeBron's boy in Cleveland." Blah blah blah. They took a chance on picking up. You damn right they did. We went to back-to-back AFC championships.
Yep.
Sometimes you gotta take chances on those guys like that, and that was just like light, by the way.
Oh yeah, and I will say this.
kick some ass.
Let me just give maybe a little bit of a devil's advocate because I was thinking about this. I personally would still take Jalen Carter, but one thing that concerns me with his pro day performance, where he was overweight and a little out of shape, I wonder if he has the makeup to sort of be able to handle what occurred that night and channel that into being a great football player, because it's obvious that that incident in which two people lost their lives, it wasn't necessarily Jalen Carter's fault, but he was racing them. I wonder if that wore on him a bit, because obviously I would think if he was just having a great offseason, had never gone out that night, that he would go into his pro day in the best shape of his life, maybe a little even slimmer than his playing weight, and really just knock it out of the park and leave no doubt that he should be a top 3 pick. So we talk about I can't wait for that sound, JB. So we talk about
Be tired of it by that time.
we talk
We
about
have some breaking news too. Whenever you guys get a second.
Ooh.
You know what? After this, I will go right to you, JB, because I cannot wait to hear this. But I just want to kind of give a little bit of I wouldn't say a cause for pause. Jalen Carter, I think he is. I don't know if he really is that sort of dog in these regards. I think he actually has empathy and guilt about what happened that night. And I just need to be sure that he can channel that in a way of sort of, I am going to live my life the best way that I can as a dominant football player, channel that. But I don't know.
Empathy and guilt based on what?
Well,
What would the empathy and guilt be based on?
it would be based on the fact that one of his teammates died, and I'm not saying it's Jalen Carter's fault,
Right.
but he was in that kind of racing him, and a athletic trainer who actually probably made the dumbest decision of them all. You know, God rest her soul. She drove drunk and she died, and it's gonna weigh on somebody no matter what whether their involvement or not. I just hope that Jalen Carter can snap out of it in time for his NFL career because he has so much talent. JB, I'm going to go to you. What's your breaking news?
Before he says that,
Yes.
who were we talking about that we wanted yesterday, the Lions to sign?
Evan Brown.
Okay, go ahead, JB.
All right, straight from Adam Schefter, former Broncos free agent guard Graham Glasgow, the Lions' third-round pick in 2016, is now returning to Detroit on a one-year deal worth up to $4.5 million.
Okay.
What do you think? He could play center as well.
Glasgow is a really good player, so I have to start there. I don't want to.
1 year deal.
That lets me know that Evan Brown's asked for too much money.
Yeah.
That lets me
exactly.
know that Evan Brown asked for too much money, and the Detroit Lions, who are the kings of cheap. I don't mean that in a bad way, ladies and gentlemen. Don't jump down my throat. I just think that he's asked for money that they don't want to give up, or they don't see him being worth. So
I'll be damned.
yeah, I really
I
want.
liked Evan Brown.
I really wanted Evan Brown. I thought he could play right guard. I think he played center really well until 2021. I think that's a key piece. You know, you want to keep your offensive line intact. Offensive line is the best unit right now for the Detroit Lions. Frank Radnow misses a lot of games. Taylor Decker, what's going to happen with him and left tackle over the next year and a half, per se? I thought Evan Brown would be a good move to bring back.
Well, Glasgow is a pretty good player.
He's a damn good
Yeah.
player.
All right? I don't get the 1 year deal, though.
And he's probably going to make
Prove
about half as much as an Evan Brown would on sort of an average annual value. I don't hate it. It makes me wonder, though, if they're going to cut Vaitai, which I would advise that they do, or maybe they're out of the Osiris Torrance sweepstakes. I'm not saying that they were going to draft him at 18 or in the second round, but I've heard some talk about it. I don't hate it. I think that
You still can do it though,
You
because
still
I mean
can.
you're only Vaitai. If you release Vaitai, it opens up money. You draft Osiris. You only sign Glasgow to a 1 year deal,
That's
4.5
fair.
1 year deal. You can still have Osiris come in. Maybe they think he's still raw. Maybe you get a Glasgow, a guy that is a veteran, experienced guy. He can give you some a whole experienced season, a quality season. And Osiris can learn from behind him. That might not be off the table.
you know
if
what?
Vaitai can play, you got to keep him. No?
I mean, just
You're done with him?
I'll be done with him.
All right.
I mean, he had back issues and just the amount of cap space
Then
it would
why
free
isn't he
up.
gone already?
I mean, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I would have cut
trying
him
to see what
already.
they're gonna do,
I mean, why is
actually.
Romeo Okwara still there? He's
Right.
another one that you could save a lot on the cap for. But that's the thing about the Detroit Lions offensive line. It was still great last season, but it was
Yeah.
never quite whole because Vaitai was out for the whole season. So maybe if you bring in a Graham Glasgow and keep everything else intact, maybe that can be sort of your full great offensive line for this season.
The one thing I will say is that the one thing that you got to pay attention to when you're looking at Brad Holmes, when you're looking at the decision making that he's done, the thing you can feel comfortable with is this: they don't fear the tough decisions. So when you look at like, oh, why isn't Okura gone? Oh, why isn't Vaitai gone? There's a reason and there's a method to the madness. Just think of the 3 moves and I'm done. We can go to commercial. They fired Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn was the dude that Dan Campbell asked to come out of retirement. Hey, I need you, my friend. I need you to come be the OC. Didn't mind firing him after he asked him to come out of retirement. Aubrey Pleasant was like, hey, it's not really your fault, but we can't fire Aaron Glenn, so we're going to fire you and let you guys know you need to step it up. And then you see what they did with Jamal Williams. They didn't bring Jamal Williams back. As much as he's a staple for that team, they didn't bring him back. He knows what he's doing, so I'll caution.
No, Braylon, I'm so glad you mentioned that because obviously the Anthony Lynn move, imagine if that move hadn't have been made. We wouldn't be where we are right now.
No.
They might have been winless that season.
Dan Campbell wouldn't be here anymore.
No, absolutely
He'd
not.
be gone.
And we'd be talking about, we'd be having the same old sort of angry Lions fan off-season radio,
Man.
which I know we've all done for many, many years.
Hey, we got our
listened for
first
many, many
final.
years.
Maryland survived 67-65 over West Virginia. That's
Hey.
our first final.
Hey, let's
and
go.
Furman is about to beat Virginia.
I mean, this isn't the Virginia team of yesteryear where they had guys like DeAndre Hunter and won the national championship. But still,
what did they do the year before that?
they lost to 16
In the first round.
They're still a 4 seed now.
Yeah.
And it's not over. 27 seconds to go.
Well,
27.
there goes my bracket.
Hey,
out.
you know what? I definitely didn't pick Furman, but I did pick Maryland, and maybe I can give Neil Rule a bit of crap tomorrow because he's always downgrading Big Ten basketball. I picked Maryland. I believed in you. Great job, Terrapins. But anyway, when we get back, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite thing. There is a post-free agency mock draft that came out. It was just the first 10 picks, but I believe it's very interesting, and we're going to kind of go back to something that Maz may have theorized earlier in the show. But first, I have to tell you about Fairway Packing Company. Looking for a way to elevate dinner? Choose Fairway Packing Company, family-owned and operated since 1956. Try their burrata blend burgers, award-winning chop house steaks, or impress your friends with a dry-aged Wagyu tomahawk steak. See why the top chefs in the country choose Fairway. Visit their steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods or order online to ship anywhere. Visit fairwaypacking.com for more details. Fairway Packing Company, sourced, cut, aged, packed to perfection.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck. Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Have an opinion? Make sure it's seen and heard.
Corner, jumper,
Tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
Time to get you some good insurance, and you know where you do it? You do it at Swiss Insurance Group. Be sure to check out your Swiss Insurance commercial review today. Many people have tried, and they all happen to love my man Mark over at Swiss Insurance Group. You want proper coverage? You go to Swiss Insurance Group.
And welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, flying through the NFL portion of the show because that's what
the whole
is king.
show.
That is the whole show, but
Let's
that's
do it.
okay because the NFL offseason is what we all want to talk about the most.
Yeah.
And one of the pillars of the NFL offseason is the draft. And Fletch, you kind of corrected me in the break that it was the 33rd came out with a 2023 pre-free agency mock draft. And one of the things that struck me about this is that A, it has the Lions selecting Christian Gonzalez, but B, look who falls to the Chicago Bears. Jalen Carter, something that Maz, I mean, hey, if he falls to the Bears will be doing backflips because we know they want them because they need to solidify that defensive line.
I was surprised they went down to 9. I really was.
I mean, I am too, because I think you'd be a fool to let him go. Or if this actually happened, and I know it's less likely because of what the Lions did in free agency, getting Mosley and getting Cameron Sutton, but if the Lions went Christian Gonzalez at 6, and
I would be sick.
You know what I would do, Braylon?
Yeah.
And this is where I'm gonna kind of say something that sounds a little extreme, but not really. I would have some questions about Brad Holmes.
Ooh.
His drafting has obviously been impeccable, but getting a corner at 6 over Jalen Carter and letting him fall to the Bears with all the Bears have done in free agency and their linebacking core, that can't happen. I cannot imagine a scenario where the Lions draft Christian Gonzalez at 6.
What I would say is just looking at the way this draft is set up, okay, here's how Jalen Carter gets to 9, ladies and gentlemen. At number 5, who's the head coach of that team? Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll doesn't do, like, after everything he left behind in USC, he does not do these type of things where you're looking at potential problem child, potential issues. That's not what Pete Carroll goes for. He doesn't play that. I played for Pete Carroll. This is not something that he likes. I can see him going with Tyree Wilson. Also, Tyree was a much bigger kid. Tyree's 6'6", 275. He can play inside. He can play outside. I wanted Tyree Wilson when I thought Jalen Carter was gone. I still like Tyree Wilson. Number 6, the Detroit Lions organization. What have they never done? They've never picked up people that have issues. They never deal with those guys that get in trouble, those guys that have legal problems, those guys that have trends, those problems that Mel Kiper or Todd McShay or anybody says anything negative about. Lions aren't after those type of people. So that's how we get past 5. That's how it gets past 6. 7, do you think the Raiders want another speed demon after what they dealt with 2 years ago?
No, they do not.
Am I being honest, Tom Mazawey? Do you think the Raiders want another speed demon after what Henry Ruggs?
They love speed.
Not this type of speed.
But back in the day, they loved speed.
They did. Yeah. They love all types of speed back in the day. Number 8, that's too close to home. This just happened 45 miles from their stadium. Athens, Georgia is where this happened, which is 50 minutes from Atlanta, where the Mercedes Dome is. Atlanta's like, we're good. We need a tackle and we need a quarterback. That's how they get to number 9 in Chicago Bears. Because Chicago's like, shoot, yeah, we know why you guys don't want to bring him down here. If he was to slip to the Bears, that's why, because 1, 2, 3, 4, those 4 organizations ahead of him can't do it.
Man, that would be a gift from the heavens to Ryan Poles, the Bears GM, if Jalen Carter dropped that far, because we look at what they've done in free agency. They got Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, 2 linebackers, which I think are relatively good moves, but linebacker isn't quite as important as it used to be. They have a couple of good safeties and Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker, but their defensive line, it's definitely suspect, and I'm putting that very, very lightly. But if you put Jalen Carter on that defensive line, really kind of giving you your franchise defensive tackle, the guy you can build around, the Bears, they might be more dangerous than you think as soon as this season. And I know that sounds pretty crazy because of how void their roster was of talent at the end of last year. But with what they're doing in free agency, the flexibility that they have, I mean, getting DJ Moore as well, another weapon for Justin Fields, getting a Jalen Carter, I wouldn't necessarily be super worried about the Bears, but you have to be mindful. Already a little mindful, but if they got Jalen Carter, that's why it can't happen. That's why Brad Holmes, you cannot pass on this guy.
Yeah, linebacker position, it doesn't matter as much as it used to, Flannel Sam, unless we're talking about Fred Warner, Darius Leonard, Bobby Wagner, Roquan Smith, Greenlaw. Like, we talking about those guys, then the linebacker position matter. But to your point, it's not as effective as it used to be. This is a Chicago Bears, man. Like, anybody can get good fast if you have your quarterback. They believe they have their quarterback in Justin Fields. They had DJ Moore. They trade back to get some more picks, and they pick up Jalen Carter on top of Edwards, on top of Edmonds. Like, you can get fast quick. here's a hypothetical. I'm about to piss every Detroit fan off. So be it. This is what we do. Who's to say the Lions are even going to be what the Lions were this year again next year?
You can't guarantee it.
You can't guarantee it. So you can't guarantee that putting this together with the Chicago Bears isn't going to affect what the Detroit Lions do. You can't. Like, they put 30 up on the Lions with nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not act like the Detroit Lions didn't get 30 hung on them by this Chicago Bears team last year without all this. Let's not act like the Detroit Lions didn't lose twice to the Chicago Bears 2 years before that when they sucked too.
Yep.
So you just never know what's going to happen, and Chicago's definitely going the right way.
Yeah, that game at Soldier Field, it took basically the Bears giving you that game for the Lions to win, and they did.
Yeah.
The Lions took it, and that's all well and good. Maz, I have a quick side question, and I know how the audience is going to react to this, but I just have to ask you.
Of course.
If Will Levis or Jalen Carter is available at 6, who do you want?
He's taking Will Levis.
No, I'm going to take Carter.
Okay, there we go.
I'm
glad.
taking Carter.
Thank you.
Well, because
If Anthony Richardson was there, I'm taking A-Rich.
Maz, you know how proud you just made me.
Thank you. Thank you. By the way,
No, but
Furman.
he got it right now.
By the way, number 13, Furman, they knocked off number 4, Virginia.
I gotta start listening to Jay Billis. Like I do not know why I don't listen to Jay Billis when I'm making my bracket. He told me to pick Furman, and I didn't. He also told me to pick Charleston over San Diego State. So listen to Jay Billis. Nobody knows
that too.
Nobody knows more than him.
What's a Paladin, by the way? That's who won. Paladin over a Cavalier.
Isn't that something like Padme in Star Wars? Isn't it a Paladin?
You guys' guess is as good.
Come on,
as
this
mine.
tournament is off the hook. Freaking thing is
too many Cinderellas for my taste. But you know what, JB, I got to get your opinion on this, because I don't think that there's a chance in hell that the Lions do a corner at 6 after getting Mosley and Cam Sutton in the off free agency moves that I think we all agree were good. Will instantly upgrade their defensive backfield. JB, do you think there's actually a chance that happens, getting Christian Gonzalez at 6?
Christian Gonzalez at 6, no. They probably will take a corner probably later on in the draft, but I think right now you're praying and hoping that, Jalen Carter can, one, turn things around, or somehow, some way, Will Anderson falls to you. If not, I think they're going to lean on Calais Cansey, at least.
That's not bad.
Which isn't a bad option, honestly. So, hoping for one of those at least to fall for the Lions.
You know what, JB? I got to go back to you, because you said something on the morning show when I was filling in for the great Adam Baydoun. You are pretty high on Justin Fields. So with everything they've already done in free agency, giving him another weapon in DJ Moore, helping out the defense, getting Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, helping out their offense, getting him a guard and Nate Davis. First off, if the Bears get Jalen Carter, if he falls to them, are you scared of the Bears as a Lions fan?
I think you need to be a little bit concerned.
Okay.
Because first, this will be his rookie year. You got to see how all these players work out and how they work well together. So I don't think you're immediately scared of the Bears, but there is some, cause for pause, as you say.
They tore their team apart. They're not going to be anything for a few years.
And you
don't know that these pieces they're putting in are going to work. You don't really know it.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
No, and we will see. And to what you said, Braylon, about some of the blue chip linebackers like the Fred Warner, Tremaine Edmonds, he's damn good. He's maybe on that second or third tier, but he isn't on the Fred Warner tier. He's not in the Darius Leonard tier. So getting him for $18 million a year, I thought that was a little bit of a reach, but still, that defense needed help. So Maz, you already kind of answered the question that I was about to ask. You're not worried about the Bears quite yet?
No, not even close.
I mean, it looks like at this point that it's the Lions' division to lose.
Vikings are right there, too. Don't forget they won 13 games last year.
They did, but they're...
I just think with the Detroit Lions, like we know what they're going to do. I take that back. We saw how they finished. We saw what the total record was. And we believe what they're going to do. But believing what somebody's going to do and what somebody does are two different things. I mean, going into the season last year, I didn't think the Lions were going to do anything. They were 1-6 after 8 games. But they finished 9-7. You just never know how things are going to shake out when you put them together, and it might be put together well, it may not.
No, and that's the worry about the Chicago Bears because they're really building. I mean, we don't know what they've done in what they're going to do in the draft, but with free agents, you never really know how those pieces are going to fit.
I love Lions fans. Y'all act like y'all went to the playoffs last year. Y'all act like y'all won the play.
We did.
Y'all act like y'all hosted the playoff game, won that playoff game.
We were on the road,
and
but we
then
won.
got to the second round.
We were on the road.
I'm not worried about them. You should be.
We won a road playoff game
You should be.
in Green Bay.
I don't want to hear that.
All right.
You should be worried.
You know, Braylon, as much as I want to just poo-poo what you said, you do have a point. I mean, they did finish the season on an 8-2 run, but the reason why they didn't make the playoffs is because they started the season so poor.
Yeah.
They can't do that again. And honestly, a couple of those losses that they had, especially to the Seahawks where they scored 45 points and lost, that might haunt them if the Lions don't improve. I think they will. I think it's all set up for them. I mean, I think we all do, but there are no guarantees in life, and nobody's got a clean bill of health, and that's for damn sure.
Damn sure.
But if Lions fans, if they don't reach their expectations and they need someone to call to sort of talk about their feelings, their depression, where should they go, Braylon?
Look, man, you get down, you get depressed. Man, it's okay. We all go through that. It is mental health. But where do you go when these things happen? Well, the SMA has done an amazing job. The sports marketing agency, they have a podcast, and it's called The S Word because they're trying to destigmatize mental health as well as substance abuse. Sean Jordan and NFL Alumni Association of Detroit do an amazing job of providing you content, conversation, and information that is key to your survival and your health. Go to thesportsma.com.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
Football.
It's Maz for Cousins Maine Lobster, cousinsmainelobster.com. Do us a favor, click that QR code so you can find out the schedule that Cousins Maine Lobster food truck is going to be at. You want to find out where they are. They are everywhere in the Metro Detroit area. You want to call them and get them in your area, or do what Lindsey Hunter does. He loves to go to Cousins Maine Lobster. He gets on there, he finds out where they're at, he calls in his order, gets up to the truck, and it's waiting for him. It's the best seafood in New England, except you don't got to go all the way out there. It's right here in Detroit, USA. cousinsmainelobster.com. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
And welcome to Hour 2 of Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. I am Flannel Sam filling in for Ryan Ermanni. This is Braylon Edwards. We got Tom Mazawey in the Maz chair, JB Smoove in the sound booth, and Fletch on the 1s and 2s. And one of the things that I love about this whole Jalen Carter draft situation, or if he falls to the Bears, if the Lions take him, is we're talking about the Lions as almost being the hunted at this point. I know, Braylon, you probably think that is a little bit too preemptive, and I 100% understand.
No. I think they are the hunted. And what happens with this, Flannel Sam, is when the territory changes, like when you're no longer the people hunting, and when you're no longer off the radar and you're chilling in the wings and nobody knows about you, the game changes. The game gets serious. In 2007, nobody cared about us with the Cleveland Browns. Nobody gave two you-know-whats about us, and we won 10 out of 16 games. We were 10-6, 7-1 at home. We were a damn good team. We had 6 Pro Bowlers. I mean, we couldn't beat the winning teams. But out of those 10, I think we only beat 2 teams with winning records. But it's 10 wins in the NFL. It's 10 wins. That following off season, when you see a team has 10 wins as a defensive coordinator, as an offensive coordinator, what do? You take that team serious. We came in that 2008 season feeling good, had our first Monday night game. We got 3 Monday night games, got a Sunday night game, had a Thanksgiving game. We're like, oh, we've arrived. This is it. It's go time. I've been waiting for this moment in the NFL. We got our ass whooped almost every game. Like, it wasn't the same. Like, our offensive coordinators, you now got to make halftime adjustments. You now got to make fourth quarter adjustments. As a defensive coordinator, as an offensive coordinator, they're gunning for your quarterback. They're going to do anything in their possible to get to your quarterback. And when it's Derek Anderson, it's not going to be that hard. So this year is going to be a really, really, really different year for Detroit Lions. Fan base, be ready. Because they're not a sneaky team anymore. They're not the SOL. They're the BNL. You know what happens with BNL? People take you serious and they prepare for you.
Oh, yeah.
Evan Brown has a new home.
Okay.
The Seattle Seahawks.
Right.
Shocking. Shocking. Seattle just keeps stealing from us.
Yeah, I mean, JB, do you have breaking news, or are you just?
No, that was it.
No,
Yeah,
that was it. Evan Brown, but that's all right. I mean, shoot, the Seattle Seahawks have really kind of rebuilt their line through the draft, and getting Evan Brown, I think that is. Hey, that's a good.
I gotta say something about Seattle.
What's up?
You said it can't happen. Seattle just did it.
They were supposed to suck last year. I've never seen a rebuild that makes the playoffs too. They are rebuilding and making the playoffs. They traded their franchise away in Russell Wilson, and still learned and know how to win. You know why?
Yeah.
Pete Carroll and John Schneider. That's how. Seattle is what a great franchise that team has become.
They work well together. I was there in 2012. They brought me in. John Schneider and Pete Carroll like a well-oiled machine. Like, they work well together. They don't always agree, but they agree on talent. They agree on personnel. The other thing, too, you look at it, like Bobby Wagner wanted out like everybody else. Now where does Bobby Wagner want to go? Bobby want to go back. Like, Seattle is a real deal, man. As you said, you can't put it all together. I'm like Seattle did. And if K9 doesn't get hurt last year, and they had a couple other injuries, like, because they kind of limped into the playoffs in December because of those injuries. Seattle could have messed around and got to the second round.
Hey, and they also drafted very, very, very well.
They hit 6 times
as well. Okay, so you know what I'm going to do, since we're kind of up against it. Let's go to break now, and then when we come back, we are going to talk to Lindsey Hunter.
Lindsey Hunter,
former Pistons player, former member of the 2004
He's a two-time NBA champion.
Two-time NBA champion. 02
and
with
our
the
guy.
Lakers. Oh yeah, Lindsey Hunter and I. We've had a couple of battles on air, but he's a great dude. It's all love.
He's a 49er apologist.
He is a 49er apologist. But you know what? I'm looking forward to talking to Lindsey Hunter. It's been a while, but Maz,
that's Bernie Sanders.
If we got a quarterback that needs to sort of like loosen up that arm, where's a place that they can go practice?
Well, you can definitely do it at the Foaling Warehouse down in Hamtramck. Make sure you ask for Chris Hutt. He invented this great game of football and bowling. Knock that 5-pin down, and that's a bonk, and that is an automatic win. 2 ways to play it: $12 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation for 2 hours. $120 it runs you, but you can have 10 or 12 people on a lane, so it's less than $10 a head. Any drink you want, multiple full bars, and you need that watching March Madness as those Furman Paladins knock out Virginia. Don't forget they have over 100 beers on the beer menu as well. Get your Foal on at foalingwarehouse.com.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
You're about to be shell-shocked. The catch of the day is in. Big Boy Seafood Fest is officially back. Join us for some of your favorites like our popcorn shrimp and pike perch platters and our classic fish and chips. This year, we've reeled in some fresh catches like our shrimp Alfredo, shrimp stir-fry, and our fish sandwich. And especially, don't forget about our all-you-can-eat Friday night fish fry buffet. Every day is a fish fry at Big Boy.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
now is the best time to join Planet Fitness.
Yeah, I heard
the
that.
gym that has always been known for being clean is now cleaner than ever. With tons of equipment, a full body workout in a 30-minute circuit, and all memberships include fitness training. But the best part about all this, you get it all just for $10 a month.
Only $10?
Yes, you guys,
Man.
only $10. Now, Planet Fitness has more than 50 convenient locations around the metro Detroit area, so no matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness nearby. Join in club, or as always, check them out online at planetfitness.com.
Back at it into hour 2 of Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. I am Flannel Sam. This is Braylon Edwards. We got Tom Mazawey in the Maz chair and JB Smoove and Fletch on the 1s and 2s. And now, joining us is the great Lindsey Hunter, former Detroit Piston champion of the 04 going to work Pistons team on the 02
What's up, number one?
Los Angeles Lakers
I'll
team.
tell you what's up.
Hey, and also, we forget to mention this,
See the Pistons gear
Jackson
now.
State legend, one of the great Jackson State athletes of all time. He's right up there in the short list with guys like Walter Payton and someone I've had my battles with on air, but a great dude off air as well. We certainly have, Lindsey, you know it. And first off, I want to ask you about March Madness, because around the office, which you're familiar with pretty much everybody here, it doesn't have the same juice that I've had for it and a lot of us have had for it in the past. What about yourself, Lindsey? Are you locked in like you always have been?
Absolutely, man. Time of the year.
That's cap.
Nothing but basketball on.
Cap.
You know, wait a minute. Would you rather watch March Madness, or would you rather watch your San Francisco 49ers pick up great free agents like they have been and sign a new quarterback?
Hargraves.
Yeah, I was going to say Hargraves. That's a huge pickup.
Well, of course, I'm a 49er diehard. I'm always going to ride with my team, but, you know, I'm a basketball guy, man. I can get up, go work out, and by noon, I'm watching basketball. So I'm watching basketball all day. Then I get to watch the double headers with the NCAA and the NBA at night. Man, this is a dream come true.
See, that's not a fair question to ask Lindsey Hunter,
No.
like an individual that was so great at basketball, asking him if he still watches the NCAA tournament. Of course, Lindsey's still gonna watch the NCAA tournament. He wants to break down these young man's game. What coaches seem to have his finger on the pulse. But me, somebody that loves basketball to a certain extent, the way I look at it now, we were talking about earlier. I'll make this one quick. Is back in the day, it was about matchups. Like, if I'm watching the Duke, I can tell you Duke's whole roster, Kentucky's whole roster. I'm a Michigan guy, Michigan's whole roster, North Carolina, Villanova, Kentucky, Ohio State, Florida. I mean, I can tell you the Michigan State game against Florida. I can tell you who was on both teams when the Flintstones won that chip. Now, the star schools don't have star players anymore. You might have one guy on these teams nowadays because guys aren't going to college, guys are going to overtime, guys are going overseas to get that 1 year out the way. I don't see the matchups anymore, and that's what I think takes me away from it. I could be wrong.
Well, here's the thing. I think it creates a more intriguing product because now you never know who's going to win. Now there'll be teams that are – the Blue Bloods are always going to be good. Kansas is going to be good.
UNC didn't make the tournament.
Duke, well, they're not good. So they were in the championship game last year.
But they're blue blood.
They are blue blood, but most of the blue bloods are still going to be good because they're going to get the top quality players. You know? Yeah. But I think that makes it better. I think that makes the tournament better. When you see teams like Alabama become the #1 overall seed, you see other teams that you don't expect to be as good as they are do things that you normally don't see. Like Virginia got upset today.
Yeah.
Did you have Furman? The first round.
Did you have Furman?
Yes.
Attaboy.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't have Furman. Why would I pick Furman?
Jay Billis liked them.
Virginia's done this before, though. They don't count.
But I think that's what creates the intrigue about it. I love the fact that there are some games like, you know, it's a pick'em. Like West Virginia, Maryland was a pick'em.
Yep, and it was
like,
a 2-point game.
I love that, man. I love that about the tournament.
Utah State's a tie game right now with Missouri. That's a 7-10.
See what I'm saying? And that was and when I was picking my bracket, that was a game I was sitting there going, man, I don't know who to pick.
Who do you have in your Final Four, and who's your champion?
Oh, man. See, I'm not one of those one bracket guys, so I do about 5 or 6.
Me neither. I got about 7.
I get it, man.
I got UCLA. in a couple of brackets. I got Houston in one.
Ookla?
I have Alabama in a couple, and I even have Marquette. Yeah. I even have Marquette winning one.
I ain't hear no Kansas, man.
You don't have.
I don't have Kansas.
You don't have Kansas winning one?
No,
what?
I do not. I don't think they
you gotta
repeat.
have Kansas.
No, I don't think they repeat.
You don't have Purdue? You don't have Purdue in one?
No, Purdue's garbage.
Yeah, I wouldn't vote for Purdue.
What?
I can't trust.
I don't know about garbage.
Purdue's out.
You can't trust Purdue as far as you can throw them.
Big Ten.
I'm not saying they're garbage.
Big
but I don't
Ten's a bunch of failures. You know that.
Here's the thing about tournament time. There are a few things that are certain. And one certain thing about Purdue, have a monster underneath the basket.
Yeah.
And when you have a guy that can give you 30 and 15, that gives you a little bit of leeway to, have some struggles. Everybody doesn't have it.
Yeah. Just remember, my St. Peter's Peacocks knocked them out of the tournament last year. That's all I got to say.
With Jaden Ivey.
Right. And
with Ivy.
With Jaden Ivey.
And the Peacocks won't be repeating this year.
No, they didn't make it in. That's because everyone left them,
Kansas
including their coach.
Exactly.
Kansas is. I want to switch gears with you real quick, Lindsay, if I could. Switch to the NBA and switch to a topic that's going on right now, the Ja Morant situation. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you your thoughts on it. Obviously, you see the timeline on Ja Morant. You see the issue where he basically, the kid, him getting into a fight with a 17-year-old got reported. Then the gun on social media, that thing happened. Then the gun incident outside the nightclub in Colorado. Eventually, the Memphis Grizzlies asked him to take a step away. He steps away for a week, and now he's interviewed Jalen Rose, Fab Five, shout out to Michigan. Yesterday, they air it, they drop it. What are your thoughts on this whole process with Ja Morant and the interview with Jalen Rose yesterday?
Man, kid's been in a whirlwind of late, and you just feel for him and his family, what they're going through, because I always look at it as trying to look through his eyes as me at that age.
Yeah.
Braylon, we went through that stage of, being a millionaire at 23.
Yeah.
And feeling invincible. So that's a dangerous place, if you don't have the right guidance around you. There's no telling what, any of us would do in that situation when you don't have the right guidance around you. And so you get lost in your own world thinking that you're invincible. And I think that's what's kind of happened to the kid. I feel sorry for him having to go through this, but I hope that, he gets the help he needs, that he can be saved and not waste a once in a lifetime talent and a gift that he has, that we all want to see him prosper and continue to get better. So, watching the interview and listening to some of the things that he's saying, man, I think
yeah.
I didn't feel the humility that I wanted to feel from him. Because there was still a sense of, they're not telling the truth on me. And we all go through that, man. Look, None of us are perfect. We all went through a time in our life when we thought we were right about everything. And I'm not pointing the finger at the kid. I just pray to God that he gets the humility and gets the help he needs to get him out of this situation, and then he looks forward to a great career, because I think the kid is, he's a once-in-a-lifetime talent.
Yeah, he is. How I feel about it is there's some things there, Lindsay, that are not easy to – you can't go for 8 days, check into a facility, and be cleansed of the things that he's got going on. When you watch Ja Morant – he's even in a worse situation as you and I, because every decade, it gets different in terms of what you have to deal with, what you have to take on being a young man with the money. And in his era, like, he's on TikTok and he's on IG Live, and I see him pass out drinking on a G5, and I see him acting like he's doing other stuff, and then he's acting like the gun. He's so caught up in wanting to impress this era, or just doing a lot of other things that are put before him, that he's slowly but surely losing himself. And I feel like the NBA stepped in, and NBA, whether it's Adam Silver, because they've done this before. Daniel Stern definitely talked to Carmelo Anthony. Daniel Stern definitely talked to AI and was like, look, you about to F up your money and you about to F up our money. This is what we're going to do. We're going to suspend you for these games. You've already pretty much served most of them. We're going to bring you back on Monday. And if you mess this thing up any further, there will be no Nike. There will be no Powerade. There will be no Memphis Grizzlies. The women that love you now, they won't want you when that money is gone. I think they had one of those like undercurrent conversations with him, and that's why he's coming back on Monday. I think it's too soon, but I think that issue is a lot deeper than is on the surface.
Well, here's the difference. You have Adam Silver, who's a more progressive. He's more progressive than David Stern would have been. David Stern kind of name suited who he was. He was stern.
Yeah,
and
it was his league.
Had he been alive today, this probably wouldn't be done as quickly as it is getting done now.
I agree.
Because Adam Silver kind of understands the generation and understands what's going on and what the influential things that these kids are watching and trying to impress. And I think that's a big part of it. What you said, man, they're growing up in front of us. Literally, they're putting their lives, on film every single day, and they think that that's the way to go about life. So, I couldn't imagine growing up in a situation where everything I did was documented, on video. And they seem to, everybody thinks that's okay now, But it's okay until you start doing things to put yourself in a situation where, you're in legal problems and other allegations. Man, I just pray that the kid gets some guidance, man, and put some people around him that care more about him than
there you go.
The person than the athlete.
Hey, the Athletic just put out something on Twitter that the Grizzlies have decided to leave road games on the same night. Like if they're in Miami, they're not staying in Miami. They're leaving.
I wonder why.
So they're trying their best to help this kid out as well. Do you think that's a good thing?
Yeah, it is. Well, most of the time, that's what happens anyway. Unless you have some time off or whatever, you may stay in the city after a game. But most of the time, we would fly out right after games. So that's nothing new. I don't know if they did something different, but normally we would fly out right after games. So
yeah.
But it doesn't matter because you're flying into another city. So you can fly out of Miami and you're going to
land in Dallas.
You're going to Dallas or wherever. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Without some self-discipline and some guidance. Hey, I'm leaving Miami and we're going to New York. What do you think I'm going to do? New York never sleeps. I'm going right out. So that doesn't matter. It's going to take some self-discipline and some awareness for him to understand. Man, he has a long future ahead of him if he does this the right way.
All right, back to college. Tomorrow, Michigan State, USC. Who do you like? How far can the Spartans go? And part B, Juwan Howard and Michigan. Michigan fails at the end of the year. They fail to get in the tournament. They're playing in the NIT. Sam Flannel wants Juwan fired. What do you say?
What?
All right.
What do you mean what?
There you go. There you go, Lindsay. There you go.
I mean,
I can't wait to watch this.
Braylon, I really feel for you dealing with Sam, man.
Hey, man, you know what? I'm just glad you got the chance to approach this one as opposed to me because I knew I was going to eventually get there, but I'll let you take it. I'm watching. I'm watching because I definitely know he should leave.
Take your time. First, Michigan State. How far can the Spartans go?
They lose in the first round. Get to Juwan Howard.
All right, fine. Go to Juwan Howard.
They lose in the first round of USC. Get to Juwan Howard.
All right, go ahead.
I hope they don't lose in the first round, man. I want to see Izzo go further, man.
Me too.
Hopefully they can win a few games, man, and surprise some people and get on a roll.
They might.
But to this foolish take from Sam Flabbergasted Flannel, dude, if you go back and look at every great coach and look at the beginning of their career, if we wouldn't have given them time to learn and to get better, then none of them would exist today, Flannel. You know that, right?
Speak on.
Bill Belichick wasn't Bill Belichick in Cleveland.
Nope.
Was he, Flannel?
No, but so you're saying that Juwan Howard,
all right,
he's going to have.
That's all I need you to say is no. That's all I need you to say is no. Okay. Now, the beginning of Coach K's career wasn't as great as the middle and the end, right, Flannel? Do you know the history?
I do.
Okay.
People were calling for him fired.
Exactly, but he didn't get fired, and he was
just
given a chance.
one-word answers from you, Sam. One-word answers. Okay?
All right.
Go ahead, Lindsay.
He was given a chance. You want Juwan Howard out after 3 years?
4 years, for the record.
He got cheated 1 year.
That is true.
It was 19 and 12. Got cheesy. It was 20 and 2 the COVID year.
It was 19.
Well,
No, I mean, Juwan Howard to me, here's where, because we had this discussion on Big D Energy when you filled in for Darren McCarty, just really quick. I would have been okay with Juwan Howard staying if he could have somehow got this team into the tournament. In my opinion, Michigan has the most high-end talent of any team in the entire Big Ten, and they didn't even make the tournament. The NCAA tournament with 68
What Michigan
teams.
team were you watching this year?
I'm not talking about execution. I'm talking about talent. You got Jet Howard and Kobe Buffkin, who are going to be first-round draft picks, probably. And you got Hunter Dickinson, who at worst is a damn good college player.
Wait. Who did you say were going to be first-round draft picks?
Jet Howard and Kobe Buffkin.
So the Howard, Jet Howard definitely, but the other one, reaching.
I mean, he's borderline. He might be high second round, low first. I've seen mock drafts. He was one of the most improved players in all of college basketball.
Yes, but in those mock drafts, did you see him in the first round?
I saw him at the highest I saw him was like 28, 29, which is low first round, but that's still first round.
Yeah, but okay, that's a mock draft, so I can't. I've watched him. I think he's an NBA player, but I don't think he's a first round pick. So that kills your. We have 2 first round picks and this, that, and the other talent. So I don't think they're an upper echelon talented team in the Big Ten. I wouldn't say that.
When I turn Michigan on, I just don't see anybody that can take over a game, and it's been that way. And it's been that way for the last 3 years. Like that, I'm not. It's not Juwan Howard's fault unless you're talking about recruiting, and that is Juwan Howard's fault. But I just haven't seen that guy that comes in and take over a game from year one, freshman year, or halfway through his freshman year, just turns the heat on. And you like, that's the guy. I haven't seen that guy since D. Walk left. Like, D. Walton was the last guy I seen could take over a game and really get his guys going. I think that's what Michigan has missed. And Hunter Dickinson, who was that the guy this year? Was that a guy that's just like doing commercials about going to get Ritz crackers at 11 at night from the gas station from his NIL deals? I love Hunter Dickinson, but he was not the same player that he was the year before that. He's regressed every year.
The thing about Hunter, that's the thing, though, that kind of makes me a little bit – I don't want to necessarily have to defend Hunter Dickinson because he brought a lot of it on himself with his antics, with a couple games where he didn't show up. But in the last 4 games, he was giving you 26 and 12 on 60% shooting. In that game against Rutgers, It was the team that let him down. So Hunter Dickinson, I don't necessarily think he was the problem.
Thank you. Just 27 games late.
But he was good.
just 27 games late.
He gave you 18 and 9. I mean, those aren't eye-popping numbers, but like I said, he is a good college player. I don't see how you can excuse missing the tournament. I didn't ask him to go on a run. I didn't ask him to go to the Elite Eight or the Final Four.
Should Hubert Davis be fired?
You know what? You could start to have those discussions. Honestly, that's another one. How did that team miss the tournament?
Should Hubert Davis be fired is all I'm asking.
They're the first number 1 seed to be out. The number 1 preseason team to be out.
I mean, but Hubert Davis.
He didn't. Look, Hubert was in the championship game last year.
And they lost one player. No tournament.
Well, sometimes that one player causes you to be derailed.
Brady Manick. He's really that important? Brady Manick? He was a good college player.
Flannel. It's called a team for a reason. It's not called a bunch of individuals.
Team game.
All right. Hey, and there I go. I get the clown emoji. And
you got it?
I do.
You got it.
I don't think I deserved it, but that's okay. This could not have been complete with another one of the epic Sam and Lindsey Hunter battles. You know, Lindsey, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to see you. Great conversation. You provide excellent insight when it comes to basketball and all sports, and he fills in on these shows from time to time. Always a pleasure.
Much love, fellas. Much
He'll
love.
be here on Monday.
Hey, I can't wait.
We'll be doing this Song and Dance Monday, Lindsey.
Appointment
yes,
viewing.
Sir.
See you on Monday. Thank you so much, Lindsey, my guy.
All right, my guy.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
All right.
You know what?
Who's better than Lindsey Hunter?
We've had so many battles, but it's always respect. That's what I like about them. But you know what? We're gonna next. Do you guys want to go around the NFL?
Oh, you know.
That's my favorite.
I would love to go around the NFL.
Yes,
How
but
did
first,
you know?
I got to tell you about Les Stanford. Les Stanford has expanded into Ferndale, a trusted name for over 50 years. Les Stanford Buick GMC, same great service that customers have come to know. Go check them out on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile. Of course, if you're looking for a Chevy or Cadillac, Les Stanford in Dearborn. Find the brand you want at lesstanford.com. Lesstanford.com. Find new roads.
Fine.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, give Alta Rental a call today. Their number, 844-GO-2-ALTA. That's 844-GO, the number 2, ALTA.
Oh, man, every single time that I have these battles with guys like Lindsey Hunter or Darren McCarty, afterwards, I feel a little bit like I just went 10 rounds with Mike Tyson. But that is okay because I love doing it, and I love talking to guys like Lindsey and Darren McCarty. It is a lot of fun. And we are back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, and we're about to do one of my favorite segments. Maz, take us around the NFL, please.
You bet, man. I love this as well. Some free agent signings. We told you earlier, Graham Glasgow is back here with the Lions after a 3-year absence. He gets a 1-year deal worth $4.5 million, but that means Evan Brown will no longer be here. Guess what? He is in Seattle. The Seahawks grab Evan Brown. Congrats to him. He was terrific here. How about yesterday? The Chiefs, the Super Bowl champion Chiefs, lose a big cog. 4-time Pro Bowler. You know who it is. Orlando Brown Jr. Not the big Zeus, but Jr. He leaves for Cincinnati, 4 years, $64 million, including a $31 million bonus. Biggest ever contract for an offensive tackle. Braylon, you knew his papa.
You know what? Damn good for Lil Zeus, man. And it's good to see. I actually saw him talking about because remember everybody was complaining about the footing on the Super Bowl field?
Yep.
They were complaining about
Yep.
it. I saw the best quote from him. He said, look, man, I played in snow. I played in rain. I played in gravel when I was a kid. He said, you always find a way to adjust. He said, winners always find a way to adjust. And I thought that comment was pretty good. This is great to see it happen, man. And it happens to his father. I knew his father. His father was the one, if you don't remember back in the day, Big Zeus, Orlando Brown, was the one that got hit by Triplett, was the referee.
Yep. Jeff Triplett
hit him in the eye
was
with
a Brown,
the flag.
Cleveland Brown.
And this is when the flags used to be made the old way. So everybody used to be, oh, man, it's not real. It's not real. He didn't really get hit. Well, he actually fractured his eye socket. And his trainers at the time, Mario Lazan, who ended up being my trainers with the Cleveland Browns, they took him around to specialists all around the country to get surgery on his orbital eye or whatever and try to get that fixed. They couldn't get it fixed enough for him to be able to play. So that's why that lawsuit, it's a real lawsuit, man. He got paid for it, and that's why the NFL went to different type of flags.
Yep.
Those flags don't weigh anything now because they used to have the ball on the back of them, like a rubber band in the ball so they can throw it, hit him dead. And now you're talking about a shot. That was Steph Curry before Steph Curry. So the fact that his son now gets the largest contract a lineman has ever received, I would say, man, karma is a bitch.
Think about this. I think we all agree that when we talk about the best quarterbacks in the NFL, we've got Patrick Mahomes 1, and most of us have Joe Burrow number 2. You're going from Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Orlando Brown was very, very important to this team, helped keep Patrick Mahomes upright. And you're going to the Cincinnati Bengals led by Joe Burrow, who has had issues with his offensive line. A couple years before, they didn't have a ton of talent, and last year they were injured. So having an Orlando Brown, the expectations for the Cincinnati Bengals, I think they're as high as they've ever been. I mean, this might be the team that actually makes it to the Super Bowl and wins it. That's how important having a star tackle like Orlando Brown is and how important he was to Patrick Mahomes. Great pickup for the Bengals. Big loss for the Chiefs.
But this is why people, I see it's that time in the show, Fletcher, where the chair starts going down and I turn into, look how short I look. I look like Roscoe from Martin.
Get up and fix your chair.
I don't know if you guys watch
Get up
Martin.
and fix your chair.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you, man. I ain't want to be out here looking like
back up there.
Roscoe. There we go. All right. You know what's so interesting about this is who beat the Bengals last year? It was the Chiefs. This is why people always asking about what level were the rivalries bigger? Was it a bigger rivalry, the Browns and the Steelers, or was it a bigger rivalry, Michigan, Ohio State? It's always going to be college because you're always going to be a Michigan Wolverine. I'm never going to be an Ohio State Buckeye. Never. You mean to tell me in NFL, they hate each other now, the Chiefs and the Bengals, right?
Good rivalry.
Supposedly. Well, now Zeus now plays for the Bengals, and now they're a better offensive line than the Chiefs. That's why it's no comparison. The competition level is rivals. It's always college.
How happy is Joe Burrow? And who did I pick? Who did I pick to win the Super Bowl next year already? I said the Bengals.
The Bengals.
And I'm doubling down on the Bengals. That's all I'm saying.
Signing. Like,
That's a huge
even
signing.
more so than you even think.
They lost somebody
to keep Joe Burrow upright.
They lost somebody though. Oh, go ahead. They're talking about the Bengals. They lost somebody.
They lost somebody. P. Ryan.
I mean, he's a good running back.
I know, but they can fix it.
Back.
Joe Mixon is not going to go.
Was hurt,
he's not going to go to jail either. So
Joe Mixon was. Well, he ain't been in jail since college. Joe Mixon was hurt. And Samaje P. Ryan kept that thing on the rails for him.
He did. We'll see what they do. Jacoby Brissett's got a new home. It's in D.C. with the Commanders. He will be backing up, or he might be the starter. Him and Sam Howell are the only two quarterbacks with Washington right now. What do you think of that one?
God, their quarterback room is just,
That's pathetic.
Jacoby Brissett is obviously a really good backup. He was actually better last season than Deshaun Watson. They might have made the playoffs if Deshaun Watson never stepped in.
You might be right.
But, I mean, Jacoby Brissett, all he really is a backup. But do you really want to hand the keys over to Sam Howell? I mean, this Commanders team, they've got Antonio Gibson, they've got Terry McLaurin, they got some defensive pieces like Jonathan Allen, Chase Young, and Deron Payne.
Don't forget about wide receiver Dotson.
Oh yeah,
John Dotson.
That's
Maz's boy.
That's a team with some talent, but their quarterback play. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is steady, but are we really that excited? It needed to happen because you don't want Sam Howell, all your hopes to lean on him. But Jacoby Brissett, I mean, he's fine.
You know what happened? This is what happens when your owner is the devil. Like, this is what happens when your owner is the devil. I'm going to break it down. Their owner is the devil. Talking about Schneider, for more than one reason, he's the devil. But remember what he did to RG3?
Oh, yeah.
Remember what he did to RG3? The medical staff, we knew RG3 had a partially torn something in that last game of the season.
Playing.
Like, oh, you'll be fine. Just put his knee brace on. You'll be fine. They okayed this man to play. He tore his ACL before that game. And then they put him out there. He tears his ACL after winning Rookie of the Year, leading that team to the playoff. They ain't had a quarterback since. And you can include Kirk Cousins in there. They haven't had a quarterback since. What I just say, karma is a what? That owner is the devil, and they haven't had a quarterback since, and this is why.
Patriots, I don't know what they're doing.
They got a ton of other good position players, but not quarterback.
Patriots got James Robinson, signed a 2-year deal. He couldn't even – the Jets traded for him. Kid was a good player. Got hurt with the Jags. He couldn't even – the Jets deactivated him. They played him 2 games and then deactivated him. Man. Well, New England thinks they're a reclamation project heaven. They signed him. They also signed Riley Reif, former Lion. Patriots go for scraps.
The Patriots, and we talk about this, it might be time for Bill Belichick to hang him up because I feel like at this point they're reaching. The Patriots were a thing back in the day. The Patriots were the ones that made smart moves, correct?
Oh, yeah.
The Patriots were the ones, man, they make the smart moves. They never paid any players. They kept the right veteran players on the team. They kept the right players to a year contract. Well,
yesterday they got Juju.
And that's where I was going. Yeah. They just let go of Jacoby Myers, who, with the exception of the 1 year with Mac Jones, like he hasn't played with anybody. Offensive coordinators have been terrible. Like his time has been horrible, but he's been efficient. He's still done the things necessary, and he's been a guy that's been accountable. Correct?
Oh yeah.
You go from him, who's still young, to Juju Smith-Schuster, Mr. TikTok King. You don't talk about John Morant and TikTok. Who invented the TikTok King? It's Juju Smith-Schuster. The Kansas City Chiefs signed up to a 1-year deal, let him do 1 year, and then got rid of him. But you as the Chiefs, you're scrapping at the bottom now because you're no longer, you as the Patriots, because you're no longer the same old Patriots. There is no way the New England Patriots would have let Jacoby Myers go for Juju Smith-Schuster 7 years ago.
Yeah,
There's no way possible.
Jacoby Myers was one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL. And Juju Smith-Schuster, to be fair, he had a good year last year, but it was with the Chiefs.
Why
and
the
Patrick
Chiefs
Mahomes.
let him go? He had Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, that's the thing. He got his career a little bit resurrected, but I mean, it wasn't Juju Smith-Schuster, was it Patrick Mahomes? Probably more Patrick Mahomes. As far as James Robinson goes, it was kind of a bad look for him that he couldn't really get on the field after Breece Hall was hurt and they picked him up, and he was bad last year, and that's call a spade a spade. And he got the same average annual value from a contract as Jamal Williams did. I mean, I know they're probably going to lose Damian Harris in free agency. You got Ramondre Stevenson, Riley Reif, a good tackle. Yeah. I don't know. It's just the Patriots. To me, they're going to be bottom feeders in that division.
Yeah, they are.
I mean,
maybe that's why Aaron's trying to get over there so bad.
Hey, how far they have fallen. Well, you know what? Let's go to break right now, and then maybe we can continue.
I got some Aaron Rodgers stuff I want to talk
Absolutely.
about.
Let's continue to go around the NFL.
Sorry, Bray. I got to bring him up.
Oh, you good. I mean, at this point, I'm used to it. They've been talking about this guy for the last, 2005, 18 years. I get it.
He's the gift that keeps on giving.
16 years.
If we're talking about just content, even if we're a little tired of talking about him, there's just so much to talk
polarizing.
about. But first off, if I want to get a good haircut, and all of the wonderful stylists over there always do a great job. I got one a couple days ago. I think I'm looking pretty good. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win a down payment for your dream home of $200,000. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck. Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
I'm Dr. Jason Olafson, DC, the founder of the Custom Health Centers, and we've helped thousands of people learn how easy it is to lose weight and keep it off with our customized weight loss and body contouring programs.
With Custom Health, you don't feel hungry, you eat well. My name is Simeon Timbuk, and I've lost 71 pounds on the program.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Welcome back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. I am Flannel Sam, filling in for Ryan Ermanni. This is Braylon Edwards to my right. We got Maz in the Maz chair, JB Smooth in the sound booth, and Fletch on the ones and twos. And as we all know, the NFL is just the gift that keeps on giving. There are so many topics. Let's go around the NFL again, shall we, Maz?
Let's do it. Let's start. I want to go with the Packers and the Jets. A month ago, this deal probably should have been done already. Word on the street is the Packers are the one holding up this deal. You heard Aaron Rodgers yesterday sign off last Friday. He's going to be the Jets quarterback. And the Jets and Packers had a deal in place. But it looks like the Packers are starting to hammer the Jets, just like we thought, Bray. They're starting to know this team's desperate.
Yeah.
We want a number one pick and more now. Before it wasn't even. I think it was like a third-round pick and part of his salary. Is this in bad faith, or is this, hey, man, that's the price of business? They had a deal.
Yeah.
Now they don't.
Aaron has put them in a situation talking about the Jets and talking about the Green Bay Packers, where now they're getting chippy and now they're getting pissed at each other because Aaron's changing the deal. Aaron's changing the rules. If you listen to Aaron Rodgers, going into the retreat, Flannel Sam, he said going into the darkness retreat, he said, I was
90% retired, 10% I'm going to play.
Exactly, and I think that 10% was probably in Green Bay. This is what it sounds like. Basically, he's saying, and this is me asking you as if you to believe it. Basically, he's saying he went in there to retire or maybe play with the Green Bay Packers, and then he comes out of there, and now it's like they've been shopping him around, and now he's upset. So now do you believe that, or do you believe this is where he was ultimately going to get to anyway? Because he starts to talk about the way that Green Bay has treated former players since he's been there. I feel like he can act like he tried to use it. Oh, you know what? I saw that they were shopping me around. That's when I said I was gonna, nah, man. Like this has been on for a minute. Like you knew you were gonna try to pull this move for Randall Cobb, Mercedes Lewis, really stick it to Green Bay, Allen Lazard, et cetera, et cetera. Feels like this has been brewing for a very long time.
I definitely never bought into the fact that he was ever 90% retired. I mean, he's getting a big paycheck just for playing.
Thank you.
I mean, it's at this point, there is no way in hell that he's going to get a first-round pick. I mean, just with his contract and everything, that's a little bit insane. And the Packers, I mean, they can want it all they want, but I don't think it's going to happen. For me, if I'm the New York Jets, you know what this is the ultimate consequence of?
I'm
and
out.
You guys are gonna laugh. Maybe not.
I'm out.
Zach Wilson being a bust because they have drafted extremely well. They just got Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson. If you had your quarterback who you had faith in on a rookie deal, this is a team that could really be ascending. I mean, imagine even if they would have drafted Mac Jones or a Justin Fields or if Trevor Lawrence was picked one spot ahead of him. They obviously couldn't have got him, but that's Zach Wilson. He should be the future quarterback of this team, but he can't play. And that's why they have to maybe...
He's not good.
He's not good.
Wait a minute.
He's not good.
Hold on. Read this. Because Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson have a great bond. This is the way I'm looking at it.
Right.
The Jets want Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, they're going to pay him.
To mold.
To mold him.
Yeah.
To get this kid right. Because they do believe that this kid has the goods. What's your take?
I think that's exactly what they want to do, and there might be something to that. I mean, I did the Jets draft show the year they drafted Zach Wilson. I was on air. We were live, SNY. I watched the pick. We talked about the pick. Everybody was key on the pick. Leger Dujabo, like all these guys, Ray Lucas.
New York was on it. They loved it.
Not me. I was like, so here I am. I'm in this weird position, man. I'm like, everybody in New York, everybody on set is excited. I'm like, I don't want to be the only guy that's not excited. I'm a Jets fan and everything. So I just kind of let it go. But I just never thought he was a guy coming out. Now fast forward, he shows some things. And if you get a guy like Aaron Rodgers and he has a relationship, he don't like anybody, especially at his position. Like, I mean, he and Matt Stafford were cool, but especially behind him, that's not the type of friendships he likes. But if he likes Zach Wilson, if they do have this relationship, I think that's what the Jets are going for. The Jets are like, hey, look, we can save our mistake. But we can save our mistake by bringing in Aaron Rodgers, get 2 years out of him, and then still having Zach Wilson. But here's what happens when you get in trouble, when you fall in love with your picks. When you're too prideful to say you messed up, when you're too prideful to say, you know what, we dropped the ball on that pick. That was a bad pick, and move on forward, you fall in love with your picks. You pay your picks. You give them multiple chances. You just keep giving them rope, and they just keep burning you. And I'm a Jet guy. This could be a situation where you just believe in Zach Wilson so much because you're trying to make your pick right. New York Jets, it's okay. Everybody messes up on draft picks. You messed up on Zach Wilson. He's not going to change because Aaron Rodgers is there for a year or two.
You're done with him?
With Zach Wilson?
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily quitting on him. I'm quitting on him as a New York Jet. Like me as a New York Jet, I'm cool on him, send him somewhere else, make something else happen. What can you get for him? And he'll resurrect his career somewhere else. As a New York Jet fan, I'm out on him. As just a fan of the sport, no. It's only 2 years in. He can be a backup quarterback, or he can get better, etc. So, yeah.
By the way, it looks like Darius Slay and his wife, Jennifer, are hanging out in Philly. Philadelphia's keeping Darius Slay. I don't know what the hell happened. They release him. They didn't really release him. And then last night, they both tweet out, we staying. Philly, we staying.
Flannel Sam, they found some of that phony money Maz is always talking about.
There you go.
I mean, that's
phony money wins.
Phony money.
Phony money.
Hey, hold on, come back in here. We found something.
Well, that's the thing about the Eagles is I thought they're obviously going to lose some players. They lost Hargrave. They might lose C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but they are bringing back Bradbury and Darius Slay. So this window for them might still be open for quite a while.
Oh, it's wide open. I mean, look at the rookies that are playing the second year.
No, that's true, but I thought that they were going to lose more. I mean, a lot of players last season who really balled out for them, especially on the defensive side of the ball, were basically guys in their contract years. And obviously, we also learned that Jason Kelce is coming back. So good for them. I think they could win the NFC again next year. They might. they might not even regress. I mean, bringing back Slay and Bradbury, that is huge, especially if they can bring back any of their pass rushers. I mean,
I was getting excited for a while that maybe he can come here.
What would the regression be? Because you look at that defensive line, you still have Brandon Graham. Now you have Jordan Davis. You still have Robert Quinn. Linebacker, you lost Edwards. You have Nakobe Dean.
Edwards, yeah.
Like, you lost Edwards, but you got Nakobe Dean now out of Georgia last year. You like that defense. You got Darius Slay. You got C.J. Gardner-Johnson. As of now, you still have him. You got Bradbury back. Offensive side of the ball, they don't lose a beat. On the offensive side, even if you lose Miles Sanders, you just brought in Rashad Penny, and you got Boston and Gainwell. Gainwell is going to be the key for them on offense. He's going to be a sneaky king. You still got Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They're going to win the NFC unless Lamar Jackson goes to the 49ers.
By the way, not Memphis. Missouri holds they're the 7 seed. They knocked off Utah State, the 10 seed. So if you had them, you're a winner. Kansas is winning big as well.
Who?
Kansas.
Who?
KU.
Mike Jones.
Hey, the Lions still need a wide receiver.
They do.
DJ Chark is visiting the Carolina Panthers today.
Oh, it's over. He's not getting out of there. He's not getting out of there. It's a warm place-ish. They're building something the right way. And I think for DJ Chark, if you look at it, DJ Moore's now gone. DJ Chark, if he signs on the dotted line today, he's the number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
Now, they'll probably make some more, but he's the number 1 guy. Everybody, Maz, wants to be a number 1 guy until they're the number 1 guy and realize they're a number 2 guy. But everybody wants to be a number 1 guy, and DJ Chark will be no different. You look at here, Amon-Ra St. Brown is the fan favorite. J-Mo is the guy that's going to take over for the Detroit Lions as a receiver. DJ Chark ain't stupid. I'm going to go here. I'll be the number 1 guy. I'll get paid. It's a little warmer down here. And I like they're building something good, too, in Carolina. He's not going to be a Lion.
Are the Lions going to draft a wide receiver?
Jaden Hyatt.
They might. I mean, it wouldn't bother me if they drafted Quentin Johnston at 18 if he's available, depending on what they do. I mean, DJ Chark, the thing about him is he's kind of almost like Jamal Williams in a way. We are happy with what he did.
You're right about that.
I mean, that's the thing. He got a prove-it deal. He proved that he could play, but he also proved that he still is injury-prone. So it wouldn't break my heart if we didn't bring DJ Chark back, especially if he asked for too much money, because like you said, Braylon, Jamison Williams needs to have a breakout year. He has to, with how high he was picked, with how Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave did it for their respective teams. This is Jamison Williams' time to shine. I don't think they need a DJ Chark.
They got to show the energy, too. Like, one thing, you got to be intentional with you. That's like my new thing is being intentional. You got to be intentional with your energy. And if I'm the Detroit Lions, I'm Dan Campbell, I'm offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, I got to let Jamison Williams know that he's our guy. Yeah. Like, we drafted you to be that guy. We drafted you to be Stephon Diggs, to be Tyreek Hill, to be Devontae Adams. Like, yeah, we love you, Amon-Ra St. Brown. But we moved up 20 spots in the draft for a reason. And once they give them that energy, give them that confidence, sky's the limit. But they got to be intentional with the energy.
He's the most gifted skill position player that they have right now. And Maz...
Maybe ever.
Yeah, hey.
Not
Calvin.
name you know who.
Yeah, not Calvin.
Calvin was a freak, but gifted? Calvin was gifted as a runner. Calvin was gifted, he was 6'5". Calvin was gifted, he was a 40-inch vertical. Calvin jumped over everybody. Like, Jamison Williams is running every route in the route tree.
And that's fair. Calvin Johnson benefited a lot from just being one of the biggest, like the greatest physical anomalies we've ever seen in any sport. Ever. Hey, maybe. It's like him and LeBron. Like, those are type of guys.
Wide receiver.
Yeah, you know, Maz, we talk about an upset that happened today. Furman beating, was it Virginia?
Yeah, Virginia 1-4 in their last 5.
Let's end
National championship and then all losses.
Let's end this show talking about some more upsets, some of the all-time great ones. But first, Tom Mazawey, you're looking a little pale. Where should you go?
Well, Florida to begin with. But if I'm stuck here in Michigan, I'm going to Chili Peppers Tanning. That's right. 27 locations across Metro Detroit. And if you join the Pepper Club, they're going to take great care of you. Not only do you get the cleanest salons in the D, but they're going to beat all competitors by $5 on unlimited tanning. Plus, you get the best people to take care of you. Trained tanning professionals, the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans, your vitamin D headquarters, chilipepperstanning.com.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy, better sleep, blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
Centron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings. Right now, they have an exclusive offer for Woodward Sports fans. That is right. Limited edition Red Wings 6-pack, only $15, free shipping and handling. All these flavors are amazing. I personally choose the cranberry. Cranberry is great. It's suitable for vegans. It's also gluten-free and also has great taste. Drink it. Live it with Centron.
Final segment of the day. This show has been flying by. A lot of fun always to fill in for the great Ryan Ermanni with Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey, JB, and Fletch. We've talked to Lindsey Hunter today. We talked a lot of NFL, but right now, I want to look at some of the greatest upsets in NCAA tournament history, because that is one of the things about the NCAA tournament that is so, I wouldn't say unique, but with the one-and-done format with 68 teams being involved, there's always going to be some teams that make a Cinderella run. Me personally, I don't know if it's up there or not, but there's one upset that I definitely is my favorite. It's actually not up there. It should be up there. It's a crime that it's not up there, and that is Middle Tennessee State 15 seed beating Michigan State. What was that, 2015, something like that?
14?
14, 15.
14, yeah.
That team led by Denzel Valentine. As a Michigan fan,
Hate it, yeah.
I am not one of those people that really has any time for State or Tom Izzo. I don't like any of them. Watching them lose is like crack to me. So that was a great, as somebody who doesn't usually like upsets.
Are you saying you know what crack tastes like?
As somebody who doesn't usually like the Cinderella teams, watching MSU go down was incredible. Are there any other ones on this back wall that really stand out?
Well, there are a ton of ones on this back wall. Like what Davidson and Steph Curry did in that 2008 run was phenomenal. I know Maz, we talked about that a little bit yesterday. George Mason in 2006 when they beat UConn, that was a big one. That was a real big one at the time. I think Lehigh beating Duke didn't get big until like C.J. McCollum got big, and then it became like, oh yeah, that's.
I remember jumping around for that game. It was so exciting.
That was another good one.
Man,
so exciting.
I'm gonna let you have your fun with it. I'm gonna say mine. I think mine is it can't not be the only 16 seed to win against a 1 seed, and that was Virginia, who also lost again today. Yep. It cannot be that one.
They lost to UMBC, the Retrievers.
Right. But the one that they talk about all the time, the one that they've been talking about for the better part of, 40 years now, it's NC State versus Houston. Like that's the one that they've talked, obviously because it's the oldest. But they bring that up every year. I watch. What did I just talk about today before we started the show? The Houston Cougars and Hakeem Olajuwon. But I think it's UMBC over Virginia, but NC State over Houston, 1983. My birth year is one they still talk about to this day.
Nova over Georgetown with Raleigh Massimino running around the court. That was David versus Goliath. It wasn't a 16 seed, but they were heavily favored. Patrick Ewing and that phenomenal Georgetown team. That one is the number one in my head. Number two would be what Braylon said with Jimmy Valvano and NC State shocking Houston. But last year, St. Peter's knocking off Kentucky, knocking off everybody. St. Peter's is a small school in Jersey City on Kennedy Boulevard that you drive to. You park in there. They're the Peacocks, okay? They don't win anything. And they went to the Elite Eight last year and they hung with North Carolina. They lost their shooting touch. Couldn't get that job done, but they knocked off Jaden Ivey as well and Kentucky.
Yeah.
St. Pete's last year was fun as hell. I still have those games on my DVR. I remember watching those games with my girls. We would jumping
we were talking
up and down
during those games last year.
It was amazing
in the group chat.
It's such a great tournament. But UMBC over Virginia, Maryland, Baltimore Coast. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah.
Florida Gulf Coast winning its game. That's why this tournament is so great. Today, Furman. The Paladins. I love these nicknames of these schools that you don't know. It's just fun as hell. George Mason, when they shocked, who'd they beat? Who did George Mason beat? They beat UConn.
I think UAD beat UCLA.
How about Princeton?
I think UAD Mercy.
Princeton beat Georgetown one year.
With Rashad Phillips. I think they beat I think they beat UCLA with Ed O'Bannon and Chris O'Bannon. But the one thing about the St. Peter's and the Kentucky, the reason why I don't have that on my radar so much, what did we talk about the show?
Stars.
It's stars, and
Right.
now it's easier in college basketball for set situation like that to happen. If that would have happened 10, 15 years ago, it's no question that would be sitting at number 2.
I mean, if they would have beaten like the Anthony Davis-led Kentucky team, that would be impossible. That was one of the best college
How
teams.
about the steal from
the
Jordan?
Cauley Stein team?
How about North Carolina against Georgetown? That's not a huge upset.
Yeah.
But what a game that was when they threw the ball to the wrong team.
It shouldn't.
James Worthy.
North Carolina shouldn't even have been in that game. It should have been Houston.
Oh man.
I
Remember?
don't remember that. I don't remember the semi.
What was the great player, the point guard, Rob Johnson for Houston?
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Damn.
like number 20. That's why they all start going to Houston was because of him. And then he was out that whole the whole tournament. Man. And he was out partying all night. And he's their best player, Maz. And Rob, I can't think of his last name, was number 20 or 21. He averaged 21.7 points a game. He was number 10 in scoring in NCAA. He played the whole game against UNC, their biggest game ever in history. He had 2 points, and those 2 points both came at the free throw line.
I remember from watching that documentary.
And they lost by 2.
Know exactly who you're talking about.
Yep.
From that Phi Slama Jam. Was it Phi Slama Jam?
Yeah,
it was Phi Slama Jam. Yes, that was a great.
Jordan would never even hit that shot.
Yeah, and that's
crazy.
And that's true. And I always have a special place in my heart for that Houston team. That's why every time, even though I wasn't alive, I watch that upset. It makes me so mad because I know if I were alive back then, I would have been rooting hard for Houston. And also Terry Gannon tackled Clyde Drexler in the lane and got a charging foul drawn on Clyde Drexler. F that guy. Anywho, Maz, before
Magic
we go,
versus Bird.
Hey, that's yes. Oh, that was all
Not
time
an upset,
classic.
but just great memory.
And it carried on into the NBA.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
One thing before we get out of here, Maz, any progress on getting us a Milt Plum interview for Big D Energy?
I haven't. I got to be honest.
Right.
I'm usually good at tracking these guys down. Milt Plum has escaped me so far. I've got him down to North Carolina so far. I'm tracking him in North Carolina. I'm going to find him for you.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to find Milt Plum for you.
I appreciate that because that would be huge for our show. That became kind of a little side topic, which is a lot of fun. Well, I hope you guys all enjoy the rest of the NCAA tournament tonight. Watch some games, maybe some.
There's going to be another upset tonight.
It probably will, and there's probably going to be some more breaking news out of the NFL.
Oh, I got some breaking news, but I'm saving it for
by the way, guess what time it is?
It's
time for Lamar Jackson.
It is.
You can now sign Lamar Jackson. Have at it.
Over or under on him signing a month?
Under. I think he signs in the next week.
You know he doesn't have to sign technically until July.
I think he signs in the next week.
Okay.
I gotta go under as well. But hey, the sooner he signs, the sooner we can talk about it because that would be just so much fun for the show. Well, I will be back tomorrow joining Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazawey, JV Smooth, and Fletch. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your guys' day, and we will see you tomorrow on Ermanni and Edwards with Maz. Peace.
See you guys.
We aren't quite sure if they consume more beer or sports. Either way, the heavyweights are here. Live on Woodward Sports, daily 5 to 7 p.m.